Welcome, weebs everywhere. Welcome back to the Uncensored Anime Podcast. This is episode 18, and today we have a jam-packed episode for you all today. We did something similar in the winter, or not the winter, in the fall, where we gave quick...
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the winner.
This is the winner. Yeah, it's weird because, but anyway, we talked about 13 episodes in the fall season. Today, we're talking about 13 episodes of the winter season. Winter 2021, baby. So, Jerry, Kenny, any words before we get this show on the road?
There are some winners, there are some losers, and there are some others.
some obvious losers, some obvious winners.
Yeah.
We posted on our Instagram what we watched and the air dates and where you can check them out. Subscribe to our Instagram, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Remember, we love Vampire Night here at the Vampire Night Podcast, so we're going to talk about 13 episodes of Vampire Night. Jerry, go ahead and start.
Actually, tonight, we the winter anime season is surprisingly, it's just Vampire Night 13 times. It's really weird.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
How'd you know?
It's really so strange.
This is my favorite season.
I didn't even check. That's so shot. Yeah, no, but Kenny's right. We did post the 13 shows we're reviewing today on our Insta because we didn't have them picked out when we filmed our last episode. We could have attempted to, but we just were rushing. So we went ahead and posted them on Instagram. So if you want to follow us over there, that is a great move to make because we'll post up stuff in relation to episodes like this. So you can be prepared. I know some of my buddies went ahead and watched the same 13 shows so that they could watch this episode and be on board with what we're watching, which is really exciting. And so if you want to go follow us, it's at Uncensored Anime Podcast. The didn't fit, I think, when I made that handle. So it's at Uncensored Anime Podcast. We did post the 13 shows we're going over tonight. And the rule, what we do here on the Uncensored Anime Podcast, a lot of other people this winter season especially are going to be highlighting. This is a stacked, returning season for a lot of shows. This is a season that it's really not about the new stuff, to be honest. This is a season where Promised Neverland, Dr. Stone, Reincarnated as a Slime, Beastars, the next season of Titan, Seven Deadly Sins, all of these shows are having the classic art form, quintessential quintuplets.
Quintessential quintuplets season 2.
Even more, there's tons of shows that ReZero is continuing on to this season.
Second season.
It's second season part 2 is what it is, right?
Yeah, I think they did a pause because of Corona. So.
Yeah. So just this is a season of seconds and thirds. This is not a season for the new stuff, but here on the Uncensored Anime Podcast, what we want to be able to do is provide you with insight into 13 brand new series that you could start today without any other information, and you would be able to go, okay, yes, I want to be invested in this show. The reason why we think this is important is because it really boils down to we want to get more anime fans introduced to anime. We don't want... this is a season that is certainly self-indulgent for anime fans because it's a bunch of shows coming back that we have all loved. But for a new anime fan, this would be a tough season to jump in because, you're like, where the hell do I start? There's all these 3rd, 4th, 5th seasons, 2nd seasons. Where do I go? So our hope here is to cover 13 brand new anime series. So these are first time out the gate. Some of them are based off of what, Kenny? Light novels. Some of them are based off of...
some of them are based off of manga that are based off of light novels.
Right.
Some of them are based off of novels that are based off of light novels that are based off of mangas. Mm-hmm. So,
some are original.
Yeah, we have a couple originals in here that are brand new. Uh-huh.
Yeah, some of them are dog shit. So
some of them are big accidents to this. So I'm really excited.
Sandwich.
We're excited because that while certainly today we're going to provide some pretty literal critique of these first episodes. So first off, spoiler for the first episode of all of these shows. We are probably going to dive into a bit of the plot. We'll try our best to not be too spoiler heavy in case you haven't watched the show just yet. But we will probably say some things that you might want to at least go watch. It's 20 minutes of your time. Go watch the show before you hear us talk about it. Go try it out. We're going to be very critical. Also, it's just kind of the way we are. But realize that naturally we would probably watch 3 or more shows before we drop a show. But we're going to use our thumb system. Here on the Uncensored Anime Podcast, we have a thumb system for what's going to happen with each show. A thumbs up means that we liked it, and we most likely are going to continue watching it, right? A middle thumb is the first episode was okay. and I could see myself trying 2 or 3 more, right? It means I'm willing to give it another shot. A down thumb is I watched this first episode and I am not going to continue watching this show. That means if you're not watching the video format, we're going to say what our thumb rankings are out loud because this is a podcast. But if you are watching the video, you'll be able to see what thumb we put up when we do it. That's our very, very top-notch, highbrow ranking system here on the Uncensored Anime Podcast. Yep. We are all about thumbs, boys. Yeah, so that's what we'll be using. So after each show, after we discuss it, we'll each be giving it our own personal thumb. We're not going to give a group thumb because we each have different opinions on these shows, and we definitely each are going to want to watch and not watch certain ones. But yeah, understand that generally before you drop or start or like really decide to invest in a show, you're going to probably watch 2 or 3 episodes. The idea of just watching one and then dropping it completely is pretty hard to do. I think I'm the most strict at that, and that I can watch a 20-minute episode and I'll go, I'm okay, more frequently. Most normal humans, they'll want to watch 3 or 4 before they give it up, because
Jerry just doesn't like anime.
I don't give a lot of shows much of a shot, honestly. I feel like I'm pretty ruthless at this, that it's like 20 minutes is enough for me to go like, yeah, no, I'm good. So we'll see how that turns out with this season, because this was quite a fun season. So we have 13 shows picked out for you. We're going to go through them one at a time. Kenny is going to give us a brief synopsis, and David is going to tell us a little bit. Who the hell is Davis?
Season 2 of Digimon, bro.
David.
He wears the goggles.
I was talking faster than I can think. David is going to tell us a little bit potentially about the studio or what the show, and then we'll just dive right in. We'll talk animation, we'll talk art, we'll talk storyline, we'll talk everything, characterization, plot, so far, and so on. And we'll talk for as long as we can about each show, or as long as we want. So this could potentially be a very long episode, so buckle up. If you're on YouTube, there will be timestamps for when each review starts. So if you need to skip ahead and just click ahead to whichever show you want to quickly watch the review for, because you watched the first episode for that and you want to hear what we think about it, go ahead. Do that. That's a fun way to enjoy this episode as well, because you can kind of click through and watch the ones that you did watch or were interested in watching, and then come back. You can watch the whole thing if you'd like as well. So, boom! That's it. That's the format. It's the Uncensored Anime Podcast, 13 brand new anime series that you should be watching. Part 2, Winter 2021. The first show that we're going to be talking about this year, we decided we're going to talk about them in air date order. So we'll be going in the order that they aired, starting with the show that aired the earliest, which aired on January 4th. The title of this show is, Jesus Christ, this is probably my least favorite title of the season. Suppose a kid from the last dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town is the title of this show. So, all right, Kenny, what's Suppose a Kid from the Last Dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town about?
Well, suppose a kid from the last dungeon Boonies, okay, from the mystical village of Kunlun, which I thought was very funny that the name of the village is called Kunlun. Reminds me of. Have you ever heard of the Immortal Iron Fist from Kunlun? That was a bad show. But suppose a kid from the last dungeon Boonies, let's say he moves to the royal capital. It's a starter town. He thinks that monsters, they're just animals, okay? Monsters are like demon lords or dragons, okay? Not, insects and stuff. And so basically it's not an isekai, right? But it has every isekai power fantasy bullshit trope. Mm-hmm. And it's done by Universal Pictures, right? It has that big Universal intro whenever it comes in.
It did start with the Universal. Yeah. What the hell?
Is that a good thing though?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but yeah, that's basically it. I mean, he wants to be a soldier or something, and he's living with his village chief's her like apprentice, who is like a witch, and yeah, it's not an isekai, but it sure feels like one.
Mm-hmm. It's technically a fantasy, but
yeah, it's a fantasy.
It's just the main character is still got that fish out of water sort of sensibility, because he's like, oh look, I'm super powerful from the end game, and I'm back at the beginning.
Right.
So
it's like he has a cheat power like they do in isekai.
Yeah, they've given him like isekai tropes.
Weird. Yeah. So
That's
I can't
pretty.
hate this
That's
one.
a pretty good plot synopsis. David, what info did you pull up on the wiki? What do we know about this show?
So this show is one of those shows where it began as a light novel.
Oh, okay.
It was adapted into a manga.
Okay.
And then adapted into an anime.
Okay.
Something that you guys might find pretty funny is that this show is adapted. It's animated by Leiden Films.
Okay.
Liden Leiden Films.
I feel like I've heard of them.
Oh, you might have heard them because they did the 2016 version of Berserk.
Oh no, the fucking CG looking one. It looks like stale.
It looks fine. This show looks fine.
But yeah, that's what I was going to add is that I didn't really notice a lot of CGI in this film.
No, this was much more 2D.
They are also animating one of the shows that we're about to talk about shortly of the 13. So that's interesting as well.
They have more than one of the 13 on this list. Okay.
Yeah, they did Otherside Picnic.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting.
Which, yeah, I think the animation of the show was like not bad, pretty simple. The opening and ending songs, I don't remember them, so I'm gonna just use that as my gauge that it wasn't really that good.
I think the opening wasn't in the first episode, if I'm remembering.
Yeah, I don't think.
Oh, it wasn't.
I don't think we got an opening. I think we only got an ending.
Okay. I think we did get an ending song.
Maybe that's why I don't remember it because it never happened.
Didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
But yeah, it was a basic, like very basic isekai-esque tropes, like Kenny, like as we're saying, got the isekai, which I mean, you might as well have just made it an isekai at that point,
right?
Guys, the main character, I don't like the type of main characters that are just like completely like naive, like they're a little boy,
oblivious,
but they can do anything and everything type. It's just kind of, I don't know. I'm interested. I guess I'm interested to see what happens, but the first episode didn't really sell me on the entire show.
It's a little played out.
It wasn't not enjoyable. Like it was like, if you kind of like isekais or you like fantasy shows and like, oh, it's funny. He just like whacked the really strong bug and he cured the girl's curse. And
yeah,
I thought that the yandere aspect of the belt girl was very funny.
Kenny loved the belt girl.
The way they did the crazy eyes was hilarious to me. She was like,
how about
how do you know him?
This show hit me with I remember I was sitting there and I was like in the first episode they wanted to just like dive into her backstory. I was like, whoa. I was I was like, she's sitting in the mirror and she's like, my life and the terrible things that have happened to me and the belt and then and then she like nutted the belt off, dude, and she was like, oh, I'm belt free now. And she's cute now, and oh my god. This show
I don't get it.
It turned into a harem real quick, guys.
Yeah, it was so
this show turned into a harem real fast. It was like the beginning I was like, okay, yeah, he's powerful and he's living with this witch, and then it was like, okay, the witch likes him, this random girl at the tournament thing likes him, the proctor likes him, the belt girl got her belt ripped off because he jumped. Okay, how the fuck did that insect make it that deep into that city without getting noticed?
I don't know, and he just whacked the shit out of it.
Bro, that insect, I literally was like, I was like, this insect, he threw it. He chunked it. He picked that puppy up and chunked it, dude. I was like, what is it? Okay, like, how did he get that? I had so many questions. This is I wouldn't say this is a bad.
Exactly, I felt the same way, Jerry.
This is not a bad show. Exactly, it had some moderately not great. I'll say some moments that I laughed. It had some comedy bits I liked. I do think that surprisingly, the art and animation direction were actually pretty okay. The music at one point, oh my god, I'm forgetting what it did. I wrote a note about it. I thought there was like a music bit that it did that the music just sounded a little like goofy, like out of place at one point, and I noted like who's directing or making that choice. And yeah, the show just like devolved into a harem like way too fast. Like I didn't expect it to become a harem by the end of the first episode, but it did somehow. And guys,
weird because he looks like a little boy.
Yeah, he's like
he's like a little child.
I was like, this maybe they didn't really give us an exact age because he started very young and then it like time skipped.
He only made it there in like 6 days. His master would get there in like 2. So
oh my god. So this is one of those shows that it just felt played out. It felt it felt like I've seen this show before, and like I've seen everything that it's gonna do, and I kind of looked at Alyssa and I said like, this feels like a show that I can't justify its existence. Like, I can't decide why this, because generally when a new piece of entertainment comes out, you want to be able to say like, this is contributing to something. Like someone somewhere is really getting something out of this piece of entertainment, and it doesn't have to. And sometimes that is just laughs, and sometimes that is just like mindless fun and enjoyment. And this is maybe that type of show. I just don't know what, like, I was like, maybe that's it. And so maybe I have to accept that there's someone out there, not just someone, probably a lot of people out there that are like, yeah, suppose a kid from the last Dungeon Boonies did move to a starter town.
Yeah, I'm about to say, it did follow the isekai trope of just putting way too many fucking words in the name.
Yeah.
Like, let me entirely explain the manga, and that's the name of the show.
What's that mom one, Kenny? Something about her and her multi-hit target attacks or something?
Yeah, well,
frick,
what if you went to another world with your mom and she had a multi-hit targeting sword or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I was that's not a title.
Yeah, I think it's In Another World with My Mom, and she has an overpowered multi-hit targeting sword.
I also hate the one that's what's the one that's super redundant? It's like the hero is overpowered but overly cautious, or something like the cautious hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious, something like that.
Yeah.
I was like,
bro, cautious hero is funny. Yeah. Wait a second.
Okay, but
that
like,
one's funny.
The titles.
Whenever he's like,
it's title porn, dude. Like, it's title gore. Like, just
it is.
They can make.
There's another one that is like that.
That's stupid. Well,
wasn't the mom isekai show like actually pretty good though?
I thought it was funny.
People liked her because she was a MILF. I mean, it's not a joke. Right, it's kind of serious.
What's not to like about that?
People were like,
what was the name of that show again?
They got a MILF show. Yeah, I'm cool on this show, but boys,
let's do it.
Is there much more to say on something like this? No,
I don't have anything.
I mean, I like the same feeling I got from watching like I'm Standing on a Million Lives and that other isekai show that we watched that I can't remember the name of, and Log Horizon.
Right.
It's like, of those like 3-4 shows, this was probably like around like that same type of feeling I had watching the first episode. I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It just wasn't capturing, I guess.
Yeah. I just feel like it'll be one of those shows that'll just be a bunch of standalone kind of nothingness for 14, 20, whatever, however many episodes end up being. The ending will be some sort of big battle with some sort of, big sort of climactic fight that ends in success for the hero. There's just not much to do with the characters that could be much of interest to me. And it just leads me to think about how, like, this genre needs to get a shake up. Like, someone needs to really shake. And we're talking about this like it's an isekai when it technically isn't. It just sucked how much of an isekai this like felt like. It just did everything. Yeah. It was like
just very formulaic.
It was trying really hard to not be an isekai so that it could be like, look, I'm not an isekai. Look, I'm not an isekai. But it was really just, it's an isekai in sheep's clothing, dude.
Exactly.
So yeah, let's give it a thumb, guys. In 3, 2, 1.
Down.
Here we go. Down.
I like the
Two downs, one sideways.
Bro.
I can't see myself.
I
can't see myself watching more of this. I feel a little quick to judge, and I'm sure someone somewhere is probably like, Jerry, if you just watch the entire first season and then wait for the second season and read the light novel and go watch the OVA and pretend like there's a movie, then you'll like it. I promise, dude. I promise. And I'm
not
like, no,
it.
It's not. I'm not going to waste my time on something that I'm just not enjoying. Like, I don't mind putting an effort to a show where it's like, if the first episode has a concept or something I really like, great, I'll stick with it. Because at the end of the day, whether it sucks or not, at least I'm enjoying the concept or the world. This show just didn't have much of that. I mean, it almost felt like a weird like copy of like the central characters. What are they, like the Capitol Police? Like, felt like Full Metal's police in some ways, and then like
the like soldiers or something.
The main guy like kind of looked like Link, honestly.
He kind of looked like Link.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Link. And yeah, so this show's a thumbs down from Jerry and David.
Yeah, I gave it a thumbs down just because like my queue of anime is big as fuck, and I don't have any reason to justify adding this.
I'm
to that
so
queue.
proud, David. Last season you were like
I'm
thumbs
not-
up on all of them, and now you're like,
I
have some
And
more
now
to
I've
struggle.
I've learned of like, okay, you gotta be realistic, David. Like, no, I'm not.
Can't watch.
I'm not
this one.
watching the show.
Gotcha. And Kenny, you'll give it a shot because you watch everything.
I'll probably watch some more. Yeah, I don't care. It was enjoyable, and I know that if I'm ever like eaten and bored one day, I'm like, oh, is there a couple more episodes? Sure.
Oh yeah,
I might go back like at the end of the season, like once it's over, and watch through the rest of it. But I am not going to follow it week to week.
Yeah, this is easy. I feel like unfortunately my taste in anime is too obvious because I feel like if anyone watched this first episode, they'd be like, yeah, Jerry's not watching that shit. like there's no way he's gonna like that. You guys probably watched it and you were like, oh, Jerry's gonna not like that.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
That's how I felt about a lot of them, if I'm being honest.
And
yeah,
by the way, this show is available to stream on Funimation every week. I'm not sure what day of the week that would have been. Is that a
yesterday?
It's like on it's like Wednesdays or something like that. So check back every Wednesday if you are interested in Boonies. Funimation is your way to stream it this season. So yeah, go check it out if it is your cup of tea. But for us, not really our cup of tea mostly here. But Kenny might watch some more. So let's go to the second show now, guys. This one, very interesting. And David, you might note this when we talk about the Wikipedia page, because I noticed it when I looked it up later. The second series is Otherside Picnic. So Kenny, what is our quick synopsis of Otherside Picnic?
Otherside Picnic is also an isekai, technically. It's a little different. It's about two girls. It's about one girl who we meet at the beginning, Soraro.
Soraro.
And so she's like just in a puddle for some reason, and then like some creature is attacking her, a wibble wobble. And then a blonde girl runs up and saves her, and she's got a gun. And that was like, there wasn't a lot of like hard information that we got. And it turns out they're in this sort of other world, and they have ways to get back to their own world. And so our main character is like, she's a college student, and so she's doing that, and she looks up these wibble wobbles and sort of figures out what they are on the internet, and they go back to try and fight some more because they find these like clear cubes or something. It was a little information light, if I'm being like, that was the entirety of the information of the show
there wasn't
kind
a
of
lot
gave
of
us.
information.
Which I guess, ask a lot of questions. Episode 1, I think that's a good way of doing things.
It can work.
Yeah, especially since I think a lot of people are tuned into the I'll watch 3 episodes. So a lot of times shows will do a 3-episode sort of arc in the beginning to intentionally sort of entice you. Mm-hmm. So I bet there will be more to come. But yeah, it was interesting. It was pretty well animated. I mean,
we kind of got like I
think I like the opening a lot.
This one was a good This is probably one of my top openings of the season. We
Really?
did actually get a little bit of closure from this first episode, though, because you know what I mean. Like they found the first cube, they went back home, they figured out kind of what they were. They were able to actively go back to the other side, find a second wibble wobble, and secure a second cube, and understand the process a little bit more.
How to fight the wibble wobble.
Right, learn how to fight it. So there was like a mini arc within this first episode that did happen.
Right.
But David, tell us a little bit more about the show. What were some information we need to know?
Yeah, sure. So officially, this is based off of a Yuri science fiction novel that was then adapted to a manga.
Hey, David, what's Yuri for the listeners at home?
Yuri
is Yuri?
Basically Japanese for girl love.
Yes.
So we got some girl love in this anime.
We do.
Girls love each other, okay?
Girls, there's nothing wrong with some girl love.
Yeah. So Yuri. Essentially, the show is definitely setting itself up as a romantic. There's going to be romance between women in this show. So if that is something that potentially should not be off-putting to you, but if that's something you're like, ew, I can't do that, that's weird.
Get out.
Then you're a piece of shit, and you need to stop.
I'm gonna say I love a good girl's love. I love a good boy's love. Okay.
You're a bigot.
Boys can love each other. Girls can love each other. Okay.
Yeah. So if that's
has
something.
Anybody seen Given?
But that's also something to just think about. Also, just like if you're looking for something that maybe you do want to see some diverse representations of romance, this might be an interesting show for you. Because Japan definitely doesn't
always have that.
Doesn't usually put these sorts of shows in the mainstream in the way that this show is kind of. I'm not saying this is super mainstream or anything, but it's definitely being touted as one of the shows of the season to look at for sure. So okay, other notes, David.
Specifically with the manga adaptation, just a little interesting fun fact. It was in Square Enix's shonen manga, which I didn't know that they own a manga serialization.
They do.
Yeah, and they run some pretty good mangas. There's a couple that I really like that run in shonen.
Yeah. Well, this runs in that, so that's pretty cool.
Is it called
like we said with the
what is it called, David? Do you know the name of the magazine?
Monthly Shonen Ganga.
Ganga. I was thinking Gaga or something, but
okay. Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
And like we said with the last anime that we critiqued, this show is also animated by Leiden Films.
Yeah,
which honestly, this is probably one of my top 3, if I'm remembering correctly, one of my top 3 animation
visuals. Yeah, it's tough. It was weird because like I didn't guess that those were the same studio, but clearly a studio is going to have multiple teams of animators, but I'd say that Otherside Picnic outpaced Boonies quite a bit when it comes to
for sure
just quality of animation.
Yeah, just like setting, because whenever they're in there, what's the official name of that upside down world?
I think they just called it the other side.
The other side.
Yeah, the other side.
Yeah, it's very visually appealing, and with these enemies that they're attacking, they're all based off of internet creepypasta. So I'm very interested to see like future enemies that they come across.
Right.
Since
I hope they go to Ecruteak City.
Go to Lavender Town and
Lavender Town.
I hope they end up at the Krusty Krab and they have to deal with the Squidward creepypasta.
The hash-slinging slasher.
Now, David, I'm sure you probably see it on there, but this is what I remember reading when I was looking up the other day. So correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this like it's based off a manga that's based off of a light novel that's based off of a 1960s Russian novel? Is I think the order of processing there. I think it shows it somewhere on the Wikipedia.
Yes, you're right. So it's based off of a book called Roadside Picnic, which is a Russian book that was written in the 70s, early 70s.
And I'm not sure exactly. I tried to find out how. I do not believe that the 1970s Russian version, is about girls' love at all. If I'm or creepypastas. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how. It's about
anime girls fighting creepypastas.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this show got from. I'm not sure how this story got from 1970s Russian novel to Yuri anime girls fighting creepypastas, but that's what happened.
Isekai Yuri anime girls fighting creepypastas.
Okay, but so this show. Let's jump into some of the critique. The big thing is, I think the show actually looked really nice. It actually had a really awesome intro and ending. Like I said, I think it's probably one of my favorites of the season. And what took me aback a little bit about this show, and it's probably because I watched Boonies right before, is that it was much more focused on characterization than the world. You know what I mean? It was less focused on what is the other side, what are these monsters, blah blah blah. I didn't want to exposition dump too hard, so instead we got a little bit more of what these characters are like, the way that they react, the way that they think, the way that they talk. A lot more dialogue that was more natural is the word that I would use, and I think that for me that drew me in a little bit more. I actually went into the first episode not realizing that it had anything to do with like girls' love or anything like that, and Alyssa was like, "Didn't you see that they held hands at the end of the intro?" And I was like, I just thought girls can hold hands. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I was like,
what's wrong with some hand holding?
Yeah. I was like,
one of their hands was intangible in the opening. So
yeah,
I don't know what the fuck that's about.
And not just that, but the elevator scene was probably one of my favorite scenes of any of the episodes we watched of the different shows.
Yeah.
The scene where they're going up the elevator and they're stopping on these floors and there are monsters that keep approaching, and the blonde girl, I can't remember their names, but the blonde girl her reactions and acknowledgments of them, and then as they moved up.
Her name is Toriko.
Oh, it's Toriko. Yeah, it is. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Which is a great name. But yeah, I think that overall this just eclipsed after I watched Boonies, because I watched Boonies and I was like, oh wow, much better. But we'll see as we get to more shows. Still don't think it was really the top of the bunch here this season, but much more interesting conceptualizations, characterizations, better written dialogue, cleaner animation, felt almost movie-like in some parts. So really pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see the rest of the season pan out, because I mean it could go anywhere from here.
Yeah.
And just the world, the environment, it's very, I don't know, for me it was very encapsulating. It makes me want to keep watching the show. And the characters themselves are like diametrically opposed, I guess, if I'm using that term correctly.
Something like that, yeah.
Which makes their interactions very, I don't know. I thought their interactions were very pure and genuine. And I guess they're gonna, fall in love by the end of the show, I'm assuming. So
that's what it seems
well, maybe
like.
not by the end of the show. Okay. Yeah. Some of these things run for so long, bro.
Oh.
So you never know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel similarly. I enjoyed it. It was a fun. I'm interested in the world and I want to learn more. So I think that's why I'll probably watch more of it. I bet.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah. I guess we can thumb now. I don't know. I feel like there's not much more else to say.
Let's thumb it, baby.
But
let's thumb it.
I do think that I felt positively about the show as opposed to some of the other ones. But it's still, I'm okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think we nailed it. Okay, boys, let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
2 up, 1 sideways.
Okay, so
Thumbs up.
Kenny and David went up. The only thing is that I also am kind of like David in that, and I hate to say this because I mentioned at the beginning, but this season is stacked with stuff that I'm already watching for second seasons. So I may not be able to follow this one every week because it was interesting, but it's definitely one of those ones that I could see myself just kind of losing interest mid-season in it, if I'm not too on it. But maybe it's one that I just don't watch at all, and then I wait till it's all over, and maybe I binge it in a couple months later. It has that sort of. It looked like it was a show that I might enjoy to binge just because of the speed at which the show. I think it's going to be my assumption is a pretty short season, but I could be wrong. I'm thinking it's probably going to be 12 or 13 episodes. I didn't look up if it's been announced or not, but interesting show, interesting concept, good characterizations, maybe a little messy plotting of like what the other world is, but maybe we'll get more of that could be really interesting. Has a good premise and something that I liked, and the character designs were really sparkling as well, in my opinion. There was a lot of and we noted that. I did want to mention, did you guys feel some basic connections to like Burn the Witch a little bit? Get a little Burn the Witch vibes, like the way the two girls were characterized and their designs a little bit, and sort of the fact that they're like combating these monsters. I don't know. I was kind of like, this is kind of weird that there's like.
I mean, I could see the
it's
the
not,
correlation,
right? There's not like 100. It's not like exactly the same or something. But
I would say it was like a 10% connection. Like there are two girls in this also fighting something.
Blonde,
but that's like
black hair.
At the end of the day, that's still like kind of a novel concept. And their characterizations were kind of similar. Like the blonde-headed one was like kind of rambunctious, outgoing. The black-headed one is a little bit more timid, a little bit more to herself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was interesting that they were. I'm not saying that it's a carbon copy, but there was more similarities than most.
It is
shows.
not carbon at all.
No, yeah, there was more similarities than I would have. There was just like it was enough for me to notice it. Like I was like, oh, that's weird. Just because and maybe it's just because Burn the Witch just came out last season. But like, when do you have two female protagonists with like that characterization, fighting monsters? Like I can't name. Like when Burn the Witch came out, I thought it was super novel. And now I'm like, oh wait, now here's another show that has pretty much the same like base concept, at that 20% level.
But I think you have two male characters in that scenario very often. Well,
yeah,
I mean, we've talked about on this podcast too. Banana Fish and The Great Pretender have two characters with the same characterization that are just boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not happened in other concepts. But are they always fighting like otherworld monsters? You know what I mean? Like
No.
it's just interesting that it was like two females, same characterization line, also fighting otherworld monsters, potentially for some sort of, you know what I mean? The blonde girl Toriko in this show mentioned like, I'm collecting this for yada yada yada, some sort of agency or organization, and I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna end up like working for that organization.
Right.
And I'm like,
I guess
you know,
I can't think of any other like anime where the two main characters are female and they're fighting
right?
monsters.
So that's why I'm saying like it felt super novel last season, and now I'm like, oh wait, this is interesting that this is happening again. I don't think it's happening on like on purpose or anything, but okay,
right.
Let's go to the next show. So the next show is Heaven's Design Team is the title of the show. So Kenny,
I really like this show.
This is the first one I watched. Okay.
Okay.
This one was okay. Heaven's Design Team is about some God's making some new animals for Earth, and he's went ahead and put that off onto some other people. So it's this first episode we get introduced to this new angel who is the direct connection to God, and he talks to this group of people, and they're just designing some animals. So God gives them some info. He needs an animal that can eat leaves that are really high, or he needs some more small animals that eat insects, and then they make some animals, and it's just kind of goofy. Like I don't know. It was fun. I had a fun time with Heaven's Design Team. This is one that I'm I enjoyed it. It was fun, but like it was a little kind of felt like I was a little school kid. And
it's like a kid show.
Trying to teach me about animals and stuff, and I was like, okay, I mean, I'm not in elementary school anymore, okay?
You're like, I'm an adult, dang it.
Yeah.
It's funny that it's like, because it reminded me of like a kid show, like a Saturday morning like kid show, and so it's a comedy manga.
Mm-hmm.
It's serialized in a Seiin magazine, which is very interesting because I don't. Seiin, for those that are listening that don't know what that means, is basically means for older audiences.
Older male,
I think specifically older male.
Older men.
It's like
so watching this anime, I felt like I was watching a Saturday morning kids cartoon, learning about different animals that exist in the world.
Yeah, but there were some dirty jokes mixed in that I guess like maybe if you were a kid, like that would have been not as noticeable. Like their reaction.
Were they like booby jokes though?
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying that they were definitely like jokes that like teens would probably snicker at too, but like I guess it wasn't particularly highbrow, but maybe that's why it's seinen because it does have some like dirty humor in there a little bit. But
yeah,
I mean, on the cover of the Wikipedia page's Heaven's Design Team manga, there's a koala grabbing the boob of one of the characters. So I mean, that's,
wow, there it is. It's seinen. That's it.
That's why it's seinen.
That
maybe it's gonna get much more R-rated as it goes on.
No,
if it gets,
I got some hints in the first episode that there was like dirty humor, like underlying it, that we were gonna get more dirty moments involving this. I mean, they talked about like cannibalism and like eating animals in the first episode too. That was kind of dark. So there was some darker humor too. Whether it was like dirty humor, there was like some black humor. Is that what you call it? Dark humor.
Black humor? Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I think I want to say that's what you call it, but I'm also like, oh, that sounds weird. But yes, darker humor, darker
black comedy, dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
They all work. It's an umbrella.
What did you guys think about the rest of it though? Do you note the studio, David? Did you note the studio there?
I did not. So it's a seinen. Oh wait.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I closed the page.
Yeah, Heaven's Design
Team. We're having technical difficulties. Just keep talking while.
I
got it. It is adapted by Asahi Production.
Oh, okay. Asahi.
Which Asahi Production has done.
I think a lot of
nothing that I mean, looking at this list, it looks like about 20, 25 animes that they've adapted since 2006.
I feel like they've done quite a bit. Yeah.
So they have some things on their resume.
They got some things on their resume. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a ton to say about the show other than that it's a comedy series. So if you're looking for a comedy this season, it had quite a few funny gags. The animation was pretty standard. I would say that with most comedies, you're not going to get much more than single shots and some pans and zooms. Like there's not going to be any sort of like highbrow animation really at play here, but it did look nice. It looked fine. Didn't feel too stale. The voice work was good. The jokes were pretty funny. But it didn't really stand out to me as like, I think the concept could be really funny, but you're right that it kind of babied us in the first episode with like biology information that I was like, and so maybe you could learn something from it too. I don't know.
Although the bird that they focused on, what was it called? Like an emperor bird? Or
I don't remember.
I had no idea those birds existed, and I looked it up, and I spent like 10 minutes watching YouTube videos of emperor birds fighting snakes.
I've totally that's what I was like. It was interesting because you're definitely gonna learn something about animals. So if that's something you're interested in, this would be like an interesting show to pick up if you like animals and animal history and knowledge, because it seems like the author obviously has a clear like concept here, like, oh, I like animals, so I'm gonna do a comedy about animals. So that's what you've got here. Couple, like I said, there's some bits. These are angels, so they've like lived forever or whatever, and they're like living in sort of time space void. So like they make jokes about things from any time period, and they have little spouts between each other. So kind of an interest. And the characterizations are pretty cool. I mean, they all seem to be kind of their own thing. There's the one conversation I'm actually forgetting between the character. Jesus Christ. They were arguing.
Oh, Jesus Christ is in the show?
He probably will be. There were two characters arguing at one point that I thought was a really funny bit, but I'm forgetting what they argued about. It was two of the angels. They argued about one of the animals they were going to create. It was in the second half of the first episode. And I'm totally losing.
Oh, were they fighting over the anteater and the armadillo?
Yes, and I'm like, yes, and it was funny to me, and it worked because the characterizations were clear. Like the emo looking guy was like the emo looking guy, and they kind of like did that on purpose, if that makes any sense. Like the angels looked like they were kind of stereotypes in that they acted in a way that worked. So I don't know. Kind of like it.
I actually like the old guy. They were like, he made the horse, like
and that's right. The horse is his thing. I forgot about that. The horse.
Also, the new idea guy looked like Steve Jobs, which I thought was funny.
Oh,
like
he does.
Black sweater, and the glasses. He looks like Steve Jobs.
There was a lot of those bits in the show where it was like, this character looks this way, acts this way. It's all a bit, like it's all a thing,
right?
Which it works. It actually works for the humor. I think even like the new guy on the block, who's just kind of like very basic. He's sort of like our conduit. Like he's as the viewer, he's the straight man, and you get to kind of like exist next to these wacky scenarios with the guy. Like, so it's very standard comedy tropes that works here. So I don't know. Thumbs?
It doesn't seem like there's like an actual plot. It just seems like it's sort of pretty episodic with like 3 to 4 animals an episode.
Yeah,
which I don't think is a bad thing.
No.
I mean, it'll still be interesting with its random assortment of jokes and random animal facts. Like I didn't know the anteater and the armadillo are from the same family. Had no idea.
David was learning a lot this episode.
I was learning a whole lot.
David watched Heaven's Design Team. He was like, wow. He was taking notes.
Birds.
He was like, what?
He just sent out an update, okay?
And so, but that does explain like if you are a fan of animals, like or just it is interesting in that way. So, it'll get you. So thumbs, boys. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. All right, two sides in a. I just put a thumbs down because like. I may be playing myself, but like, I'm just the type that it's like I probably won't watch this again.
You just don't watch anything, though.
No, I just
Jerry, hold it. Jerry, hold it.
I know.
Hold it, Jerry.
I probably won't watch this again, to be honest. Like, I just can't think of like. I just feel like there are so many other shows that I'm watching, and I have other comedies on my list that I'd rather watch. It's not that it's not funny and it's not a little bit of fun, because it was, but I just can't imagine where I'm like, oh yeah, I'd like to watch a little bit more of that show. Like it didn't grip me in that way. I might go back and watch a second or third episode and see if I am like, yeah, I'm down to watch the rest of this. But like I think they're just, I don't know. So I'm going thumbs down for this one. Sorry, Heaven's Design Team fans.
Hey, don't be sorry, Jerry. Hold it. Hold that shit high.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a bad show. Let me say that. It's not a bad show.
Yeah.
Not something I'm gonna stick with.
It's just not Jerry's cup of tea. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's get to the next show.
All right, we got next.
Well, you guys went with side thumbs. Any thoughts on that, or just probably watch more?
No, what do you mean? I'll probably watch some more. It was a fun romp.
God,
yeah, like I'm curious to see like the next few episodes.
David's ready to get his notebook back out for the next episode. Okay, what animal I learned about this? No.
All right, what are we gonna learn about today? Heaven's Design Team.
Okay, the next show I'm dreading talking about a little bit.
Is it the show?
This is no, not yet. This one is called.
This is Vampire. Oh.
So I'm a spider. So what? Is the name of the show? Kenny.
So I'm a spider. So what is an isekai?
Mm-hmm.
A girl from a class is reborn into another world as a spider. I've read this manga. It's based on a light novel. It's light novel made into a manga, now made into an anime. Here's an issue, okay? So she just is like a spider. She starts figuring out her isekai powers with her spider stuff, and she tries to start living her spider life. But so there are some humans. There's a portion of this episode where there are like some humans, and I'm on like chapter 60 of the manga, and that's like the latest chapter.
No,
I've not seen a human. These humans from her classroom.
No.
Yet.
No.
They have not existed in this manga at all.
So this anime is just fucking nutting it out. They're like, we're
off
going
the
right.
rails.
We're going
I don't
right.
know. I don't know if this is something that I'll get the backstory later. Like it's just from the light novel, maybe.
No way.
But
Kenny.
I'm genuinely 60 chapters in this manga, and I never have had that aside, where we go to like
what
her other humans in this world hanging out or whatever. And I bet that the anime creators are like, fuck, this is like, honestly, the joy of the manga is the crunch of the way she deals with the system. The actual system of the game, the isekai type bullshit is fun in the manga. And that's what's fun about reading the manga is that she's like, oh, okay, I have this power and it interacts like this way. And it's a lot of words. And then like there's some cool action to like kind of show how she's using it. But it like that's the fun of it. The fun of it is her interacting with the system. And so I bet that they were like, people are not going to want to watch like 12 episodes of just a spider. And so like, cause I genuinely think we could do 24 episodes of this show and still not be out of Spider Zone. I think I am just now in the manga. I'm probably about 5 chapters away from her becoming a humanoid type character and going to a human village.
Okay.
She's been sort of building up to it. But it is just a lot of a spider fighting other creatures and learning how to, use some magic and stuff in this world. And it's cool. But yeah, it's an isekai. She's in another world as a spider.
Well, guys, if you plan on watching this show, I'm sorry because Kenny kind of just spoiled the shit out of it.
How did I spoil it?
I don't know. I feel like if I was watching this, I'd be like, wow, so now I know that she's going to eventually become humanoid in some odd episodes and that...
Well, I mean, seen slime in another world as a slime.
I know. I'm not saying... Like, that's a pretty minor plot detail. But...
She's not going to become a humanoid. I'm telling you this right now.
Oh, my lord.
Yeah, well, like with what Kenny was saying with, like, he hasn't seen a single person in the manga. I mean, for all we know, the anime might derail and do something original.
Might go for
it's a possibility.
I honestly can see that if that's what Kenny's saying here.
Yeah, skip like crazy.
I'll be honest, guys. Oh, David, tell us any info about this show that we can learn.
Yeah, actually some interesting facts about this show. So Kenny already said it's originally a light novel, adapted to a manga, now adapted to an anime. The animation is done by Milipensi, who you guys might know to have animated Copcraft.
Oh yeah, okay.
So we're getting back to Milipensi, which is interesting.
Cool.
I think, like, my opinion of the show is that I enjoyed it more than a typical like first episode of an isekai. I like it more when the main character has that realization of like, oh, I'm in a game, and I love video games. Like, what can I do with my current stats and all this stuff? And we saw as the episode went on, she gained abilities. She was learning, like Kenny was saying, learning how the system works. There was a funny part where she ate a spider and then she gained the title of kin. What was like kin eater or something like that. So there were some moments where I was like, that's interesting. It's for me, what makes isekais interesting is learning how the world is structured, learning how it works, learning the rules. So I'm curious to see, like, I'm interested in seeing more, to see kind of more world building. The spider design is so weird to me. I can't really get over. I don't know. I don't know how else you could design it for it to be appealing, in my opinion.
It's sleek in the manga, so
is it?
It was there. It seemed like an animation choice to make them all CG. So
yeah, well, not even like the CGI choice, but just like the actual design of the spiders, was kind of, I don't know. Didn't hate it and love it, but it was kind of indifferent about it.
Yeah.
But I think, and also to what you were saying, Kenny, the little sprinkle of, oh, she had other classmates that died. How did they die? And now they're in this world. Now they're now they have like human abilities or whatever, magic spells, they're swordsmen, blah blah blah. So there was a lot of like mini cliffhangers that were thrown in, that, which I think is good to do in a first episode, to keep you coming back for more. So I'm interested to see what else is coming up. Jerry, did you hate it as much as I think you did?
Oh, I hate it.
He just I shit on it.
I hated this with a deep passion. I can't understand. I was listening to what you were just saying, David, and I'm like, okay, yes, there were some world building concepts. Yes, like there was some stuff there, and and I agree with you. Like an isekai that can, especially like Log Horizon was one, right? Like it's kind of fun when
Log Horizon's one redeeming quality.
When they play with the game system, or like the fact that it might be in a game or like in a world that has game like attributes. Sure, I get it. This is the most poorly written show I've ever watched in a long time. I cannot get over the absolute joke of a dialogue that this show had, and the amount of the lack thereof of any characterization for our lead in a full 20-minute episode. She was just exposition dumping and world building for 22 minutes. And I couldn't get over that. I was like, we have no idea what this character wants, thinks, exists. All she was doing was literally like, I'm going to eat something. I got an award. I'm interacting with the world. Owie, this tastes bad, for 22 minutes straight. And that I don't know why. I was looking for something redeeming. I was like, are they going to do something that's funny or fun or quirky or cool, or are we going to learn something? And there was nothing. It was nothing. And then we got like 2 minutes of the most confusing side character conversation I have ever seen in my entire life. We clipped to this like royal palace and these characters that we've never seen before, and I'm like, what is happening?
Characters I've never seen before.
We don't even know what the
pretty out of
world.
context.
It was new to me.
We have
and
no
I
idea.
read this
Like
manga.
the breadth of this world was suddenly like, oh, there's a whole palace. They said something about like the like they go to school together, but then I was unsure if they were referencing the real world, because now all of a sudden, like as that conversation went on, they were like, it was like surprise. It's like other people from her school that like got reincarnated in this world.
They were calling the elf girl Sensei, and I was like, is she their teacher? But
I was like,
she's
what
like literally their teacher reincarnated.
I was like, what is happening right now? And it was like 3 minutes, and that was it. And it was like the most like dense like 3 minutes of my life. I was like trying to follow this dialogue that was like haphazardly thrown together. The delivery of the actors couldn't. I just feel like they just didn't even know what they were doing. And honestly, and I hate myself for this, the Spider-Girl's voice was so fucking annoying. Like I couldn't get. She was like screeching for half the episode, and like, and generally, I think that most people who perform in anime dubs, I watched it in Japanese. I thought there was she was rough. The voice actor just couldn't. Maybe that's what they told her to do, but I just can't get over there was just so much happening, and this was so rough. Just such a rough 20 minutes of my life because I can't fathom the value that comes from this spider show. This feels like the most deep end, someone was digging deep in their booty hole to try to find something original. They were like, in World of Warcraft, the fucking the spiders that the dungeon with this, what? Oh, guys, it's coming to me. What if, hear me out, high school girl, spider, she's a spider. Guys, we've got it. We've done it. Print the money.
Jerry, you convinced me. I don't want to watch this show anymore. I'm removing it from my queue. I'm removing it from my list. I no longer want anything to do with this show.
Let's go ahead and vote.
No, I'm just worried, David. You know what? I'm worried that the good parts of this first episode, the little bits of fun gaming stuff that was integrated, is going to go the way of Log Horizon, and by episode 3, 4, 5, it's going to pretty much be irrelevant. And
I hope not.
And
I really
so
hope not.
if you were to buckle down and go for it, maybe it's worth 2 or 3. Maybe I need to try 1 or 2. But genuinely, I think conceptually this is borderline stupidity. It feels like someone tried to Mad Lib a series together. The idea of character gets reborn as a fucking spider and has to eat her kin and fight a frog captured in her web that she squirted out, frog. Dude. And she had to eat it. Nom 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 nom. It's desperation time. Nom 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 nom. What, guys? What was this?
She was quick to eat that frog. Dude, she was quick to eat it.
I guess that's the one thing I've learned about this character is that she makes quick decisions. She's a fast decision maker. That was her one character trait that we learned about in the first. She's a very decisive person, and maybe that leads her to some interesting scenario. And Kenny, you've read the manga. You probably and I feel like this is not a show that's about plot. It's not about it's about the world, and that's probably what's fun about it. And for me, the world just didn't grasp me at all. It didn't give me. Most of the episode we spent inside of a cave with only spiders and monsters, and the monster designs were super, super simple and super unoriginal.
Right.
And and then when we saw the human characters, again, uninspired. It looked like someone picked up one of those how to draw manga books from Barnes and Nobles, and they copied the characters over. And I in the openings and endings, there was some things where I was some of the character designs looked a little bit better. So I wonder if there's more characters to come or something that I'm that maybe there was you go in the opening when the girl bit that thing and blood fell over and she was kind of a lolly type character with blood running.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? I was so
I do know who that character is.
Okay, see, I feel like there were some hints that maybe there's something more here, but if it
probably episode 2 or 3,
if it continues on in this direction of just annoying, I'm a spider, ha ha ha, which is kind of the direction that I got from episode 1, I can't see this being more than a throwaway series where people act like it's something that it's just really not. I mean, this is a comedy. I think it's kind of it's probably not a comedy. Is it a comedy, Kenny? Would you call it a comedy?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, there are funny parts, but no.
It seemed to. You think it's more of an actual there's
an isekai?
Is there a plot? That's the word I was going to get at.
Yeah.
Is there? Okay, there is a overarching thing pushing the characters forward.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, it was not present in the first 20 minutes, which is odd. How you can get through a whole 20-minute episode without at least hinting. I guess that was maybe what the clip to the other people was supposed to hint. That look, there's something happening here.
There's some other things.
Yeah, there's other.
It's like dropping little mini cliffhangers. Hey, we're gonna just show you this random conversation. We're not gonna give you any context, but just know that something's about to go down.
I hated this show. I'm sorry. I hated this show.
Yeah, I hated it too. That show fucking sucked.
You guys can watch it, but guys, I may
tune back in.
I tried so hard. Okay, I'm doing a thumbs down.
Easy. Oh yeah, we'll do. I'm gonna keep trying.
I tried
I'm gonna
so
watch it
I'm gonna
more.
see what information that's not in the manga in the anime. I want to know.
I
because
tried
I read this so.
This is such an isekai heavy season, and the seasons are just getting more and more isekai heavy. I'm really trying to give it my all to like really like see if I enjoy these shows. And this one just did not at all improve my opinion of isekais in any way, shape, or form. So I'm a Spider, so what made me it actually reestablished why I hate these types of shows. Like I was like, God, I fucking hate these shows. Which I didn't want it to do that to me. Like I went into it with such like because people are hyping it up. Like this was a very hyped up show for the season.
Mm-hmm.
And listeners, I'm
Was
sure
it really?
this is a show that was getting a lot of pub going into this season, and it still is. It's getting a lot of YouTube views. It's getting a lot of YouTube comments. There's still a lot of conversation around the show, and that it's. I mean, have you guys not already heard it? Like, can't believe this season's waifu is a spider. Ha 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 ha. Weird shit.
Is the manga received really well, Kenny?
Yeah, I like the manga.
It's I'd say the manga has a pretty popular. It's a pretty popular series.
With the light novel too. I don't read light novels, so.
But yeah, this is just it just blew my mind because I really, 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 really wanted to like this, or like at least I wanted to have a shot at liking it, and it just
right.
I guys, I'm just sorry. I can't watch any more of it. I
That's okay.
That's all right.
Not for me, guys.
You know, just fuck us in our likes. You know,
no. Everyone else,
yeah.
Everyone has every right to enjoy the show. This show.
Welcome to the Jerry's Opinion podcast.
No,
Jerry's Opinion reigns supreme.
No, you guys. We all expressed our opinion. Everyone else said their piece on this, and you guys are clear about what you like about it.
We're memeing.
I was gonna say I was pretty quiet for a minute on this one. Okay, great.
Yeah, you were waiting to shit on it.
Well, there's more to shit on. So
guys, there's more.
There's
okay,
more.
What's up next?
This one is probably one of the more. I think this will be easy to talk about too. 2.43 Seiin High School boys volleyball team.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit! And by the way, guys, Otherside Picnic exclusively streaming on Funimation. Heaven's Design Team and So I'm a Spider, So What are both exclusively streaming on Crunchyroll every week. Seiin High School Boys is exclusively streaming on Funimation. So I need to remember to do that after each one, but just to catch everyone up.
So this one is this is a sports manga, or a sports anime, but it's more of a slice of life sports anime. It seems. Two boys, Chika and I don't remember the main boy's name. They're like separated whenever they're young. They went to elementary school together, and then one boy moves back into town, and he was on his volleyball team, and he really likes volleyball, and he's really serious about volleyball. And so they sort of begin to reconnect in this first episode over volleyball. And it definitely is more like in a show like Haikyuu, where volleyball, like sports, is the main attraction. They play there's two literal volleyball games in the first episode of Haikyuu. There's not even a volleyball game in the first episode. There's a 20-second clip of sitting on the bench, and then no more volleyball. And then they sort of just montage past it. So this is definitely more of a slice of life sports anime. I'm interested to see how it develops. If you watched Hanabado, which is about badminton, or I don't know, there are some other slice of life style sports animes that even the way that they do that sort of the interactions between the characters are more important than the sport itself.
Right.
And there's not a very, very deep explanation of volleyball either. A lot of sports animes do that, where they really go in depth into how things work and the function of the game, and it's not really important to the story that they're trying to tell. So yeah, it's about these two boys sort of reconnecting over hopefully the love of this sport and really enjoying, this thing together. So that's sort of the synopsis of what we get in the first episode.
David, interesting stuff.
Yeah, so it's like Kenny was saying, it's based off of a Japanese volleyball light novel that was adapted into a manga that ran in Shueisha's Josei manga magazine, which for those of you listening who don't know what Joseis are for older teenage girls or just teenage girls.
Yes.
And so, which is interesting. I don't know. I guess I just didn't think about the target audience of this show. As I was watching it, I wouldn't think that this
I'll
like
say
the
it
target
now.
audience for this would be for teenage women.
And I don't know. I think my guess is that it might be one of Kenny's favorite types of shows. Might be a little bit of boys love.
Boys love?
Might be a little bit of boys love in this
Possibly,
show.
I think
possibly.
These boys might start loving each other.
I think
okay?
I think there's some boys love coming up in this
I don't know what's wrong with it, we just need some boys.
Every
and
season needs a little bit of
they
boys
need to
love.
love.
Every
need
season
some-
needs
I'm
some
about
boys
it.
love.
Have you ever
probably
seen Given?
Given.
Oh, this is the one I bring up.
It's a
That's
Kenny joke, yeah.
That's the Given. Come on, it's about boys love. And they're
What
in a
else on there,
band.
David? I think
I'll add it to my list. So one big thing, fun fact about the show is that it is animated by David Production, which for those of you who don't know, did JoJo's.
Oh, right.
JoJo's Bizarre
Adventure.
Oh,
right.
And they did Fire Force.
And Fire
What was
Force.
that?
Which Fire Force's animation is also beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean,
And I would say for the first episode,
yeah.
David
I mean,
Production
I think
showed up.
Yeah. Really well done.
They did. Like the animation was good. I think the opening, for this show is probably my favorite opening.
Yes, one of the top ones for sure. I was back and forth
Right.
between this one and there's another one that I
Other
liked.
side.
I liked Otherside, but there's one we'll talk about later that I kind of like too.
Yeah, there's one-
and this closer is my favorite closer that I've listened to in a long
ending?
time. Yeah,
the ending,
ending.
Yes, the ending on this one's really good. Yes.
Yeah, really good ending, really good opening. Quick random question: who decides the songs? Is it the animation team?
There's
Oh.
David Production
The
picks
studio?
the music.
Yeah.
Okay.
David
They
Production does.
they don't miss with the music. They don't miss.
You ever heard Bloody Stream? Okay.
Oh, what?
Rap
Which-
about
What?
Walk like an Egyptian.
Oh.
freaking you? Anybody?
Oh, Jodeci?
Freaking you?
A little Jodeci? Yeah,
JoJo?
A little bit of
Oh
Jodeci.
shit.
No, yes, I
But,
think certainly this is two of the top tier opening and ending songs. of the
Right.
season.
But I think the first episode, like sports anime in general, like I love it when they kind of like deep dive into a sport. Like Aisho 21 does this with football.
Yeah.
I feel like a majority of sports focused shows will take time to kind of explain the rules of the game.
Mhm.
Right.
So I don't know anything about volleyball. So same with Iwakakuru Sports Climbing Girls. I know nothing of competitive rock climbing.
Right.
That-
So I've learned a lot through that show.
That's a good example of how the sports anime starts by explaining how and this one did not at all. Like it just
Yeah, this show
Right.
was actually
Did
pretty
explain the
volleyball.
volleyball.
Not a lot of volleyball in this show.
Yeah.
Volleyball show.
Yeah. Well, there was like a short scene where they're like explaining like, the direction of you hitting the ball has different names, like a cross and a straight.
Mhm.
right.
They went over some spiking things, but yeah, we haven't really got deep into volleyball. But y'all, how did y'all react to that ending though?
Yeah. What a
Pretty
cliffhanger, bro.
almost-
intense.
My boy caused
I
a kid to
kind
commit
of-
suicide.
Yeah, I was kind of
Yeah.
leaning into that because if you remember, we had like kind of a cold open on the episode for like
Yeah.
it like hinted
Yeah.
towards that, and then the ending kind of revealed it was kind of the surprise, the twist ending there.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah, this show is it was very well scripted. I felt like the dialogue felt very natural, and we really had like a little more down to earth protagonists that
Yeah.
Yeah.
are a little more damaged is the word I would use. Like neither of them are really perfect characters. And they're
Mhm.
definitely not they're both not nice real. I mean, maybe they have good intentions, but like both of them seem to have some issues. And
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea that these characters are not, most high schoolers aren't going to be perfect pretty boys like most anime might present them as.
Mhm.
So I kind of like that there was some layers to our characters, and I liked the some of the side characters that kind of came into the picture as well. But I kind of like the focus on those two characters. I think that this one has a lot of promise actually,
Yeah.
from like a storytelling standpoint. And the twist caught me. Yeah, I think the twist was cool, and I'm happy that it did that in the first episode because it made me this is one of those shows you could watch first episode and actually go like, oh, I'm in. Like I'm built like this built different.
Built differently.
This is built different. It kind of felt like the first episode was kind of a miniature short film or almost movie like, and David Production just ups the quality of their production so much that it just feels really high gear. I mean, TV shows don't always TV anime can feel really stiff sometimes, like one we're going to talk about later. This one just didn't. It felt it's not a perfect show. I think there were some, I don't know, maybe some melodrama that we dipped into just a little bit. Maybe it dipped its toes into like being a little.
It hinted a lot of like possible like Uni might be getting hella bullied.
Yeah.
Wait.
Like,
Something I did want to mention. Did y'all notice like the girl at the very beginning, his cousin, jumped off the desk and he was like trying to look at her panties and she's like, I got little shorts on. Yeah. And then the guys were like, your cousin giving you hell. And then you realize, wait, he's trying to look up his cousin's shorts.
I was in anime, bro. Dude, think they're sisters and shit. So
I said the same thing out loud. I was like, his cousin. I was like, what?
I have a sneaking suspicion that they're gonna be like adopted or something.
Yeah, maybe it's like
that was sort of the vibe.
That would make sense.
The guy was treating him, right. The way that he was sort of bullying, like, oh, you're from the main house.
Yeah, because he had the other. He had the other. Was it also his cousin, Kenny? The other guy.
Cousin. The
guy. Yeah. So there were some other layers there. I feel like there was some other family dynamic. I feel like they'll make it normal for them to be romantically interested in each other. But also,
guys be dating their sisters. You remember Kirito, bro? Like, what the fuck?
They did do that.
You bring up Sword Art?
They do that.
Kirito like straight up dates his sister, right? Like that's like.
He tries.
Do we talk about Sword Art on this podcast?
He tries. We haven't talked about it yet, but we need to. We need a Sword Art episode. Okay, so was there any other like spectacular things about this show? I think that the one like stellar opening, cool characters, maybe a little melodramatic, kind of its biggest fault, but could still be fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully some more fun volleyball. I mean, with Haikyuu kind of on its way out, I'll enjoy some new volleyball.
Wait till Blue Lock. Once they get Blue Lock animated, that'll be the new best sports anime that exists.
God dang it.
You've hyped up Blue Lock for me, Kenny. I'm excited. I'm not gonna.
Alyssa started reading it because of Kenny, and she loves it. She was like, Kenny's right. I like it.
How many chapters is it at, Kenny?
114.
Oh, so animation maybe?
Anime soon. Anime soon.
Hopefully.
Cool.
Please.
Okay. Thumbs, boys. 3, 2, 1. Where are we at?
You guys
are gonna stick to it. Okay, you're gonna.
I'm gonna stick to it.
Yeah, I could see myself, maybe going back and binging this one, but I don't know if I'll watch it weekly. I mean, it was just a little melodrama for me, but sometimes I do like to just sit down and just give a little cry. And so I'm
curious to see like if
mind.
The focus is going to be if they're going to just use volleyball as kind of like a thing, but the focus will be on all the drama happening outside of volleyball, which I hope it isn't.
I think it is.
There's like I hope there'll be an equal balance between the two.
I do think
would be nice.
It'd be nice. Yeah, I do think because it's a josei, I immediately was like, oh man, this is going to be more about the relationships and less about the volleyball. But maybe it'll surprise us. It has no.
We'll see.
Being a josei doesn't mean that it has to be about drama. You know, it can be about volleyball still. It seems pretty highly regarded though. I added this one to our list last minute because it was getting a lot of like hype from people this season. So I was kind of surprised that it has at least a strong fan base in its other so. And honestly, with David Production behind it, I think if you're a fan of this series, you're probably gonna get a good adaptation. So,
if you see David Production on anything, you know it's gonna be it's gonna be very entertaining to watch.
Great. Okay, so the next show that we're talking about is called Bottom Tier Character Tomozaki-chan.
Okay.
The other thing about this is that this stars David Thibodeau in the leading role of
he's actually Tomozaki.
He is the
so I'm super nerdy and dorky with glasses on, but I take my glasses off and my shirt off and I'm like tatted up.
That's
Horimiya. That's Horimiya. This is different. No, this is the one where he played Smash Brothers.
Fam. He plays Tac Fam.
Oh,
this is the one where he plays Smash
Brothers.
I remember now.
Dude. Yeah.
And
this
he
is the
feels
guy
like,
that's
he
best
feels like
smasher in Japan.
the game of life is stacked against him, dude. And TAC Fam is all about TAC Fam.
This is Mikey Sinet.
TAC Fam is a god tier game.
So Tomozaki-chan is about a guy who feels like he's sort of like ugly and like not sought after, and he feels like he's shit at life, but he's really good at this Super Smash Brothers type game. And then he meets up with this girl who is like the second best Smash player in Japan, and she is like, no, like you're just dumb. And this was like an interesting concept, I guess. But like I just was like, oh, okay. I was very mad about this show. Yep. And I was like, oh, this is like interesting. Like, oh, he's playing Smash. Like, I like Smash.
Yeah, it's like he's just playing Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I mean the show.
She was like,
oh, you got it, Kenny.
She was just like, oh, you shouldn't blame the game. So life is like the best game there is. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, people always. He was like melodramatically talking to himself during the beginning of the episode. And he's like, people always say that like life is the best game you could possibly play, but I just don't believe them. I think TAC Fam is the ¡1 game. Yeah. And then she was like, no, I think life and TAC Fam are tied for #1.
She did say that. And he was like, oh my God.
Yeah, the realization like, oh my, wait.
She acknowledges TAC Fam is also a god tier game.
It was funny. I'm interested to see more of it, honestly.
Yeah.
David, any interesting stuff about this one?
Pretty much the same. I mean, the fact that he was playing Smash made me like the show more than I should have, because I was like, fuck, this is about me.
Yeah, they got you, dude.
But David, you're a high tier character, bro.
You were dealt better. You were dealt better stats than Tom. Yeah, you were better. Yeah.
The girl was like, I don't know. It was just like super cliche of like, I feel like their conversation wasn't a conversation real people would have.
No way.
And so it was like, and I know it's an anime, so of course that won't happen as often, but it just seemed like just super, super cliche.
Yeah.
But I say that, and I'm still interested to see more, just because I want to see I'm curious of the transformation that he'll undergo. Like, will it just be like his looks, or like will his actual like personality and stuff like improve or whatever by the end of the show?
Right.
Yeah.
Will she become worse? I don't know. So there's some questions I still have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's that idea of like two characters are deficit in some area, and the rest of the show is going to be like them teaching each other to get better, right? So like he's going to probably help her continue to get better at TAC Fam while she helps him get better at life. And that's kind of the setup, and that's kind of a
fair trade.
I would say it's like an age-old setup. Like there are lots, I can't think of any off the top of my, but that's like something that has happened in media. You know, this idea that like, oh, two characters both need something, they decide to.
Yeah, there's
and at the end of it all, they both learn something, right? They learn from each other.
There's a classic movie, Can't Buy Me Love, with the dude from Grey's Anatomy.
You mean Love Don't Cost a Thing?
No, no, that's it's a joke. But no, so it's that classic setup. I think it's funny that it's like I don't know, like a Super Smash Brothers player.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm up in the air about that, but I thought that was funny, and I thought the setup was pretty funny. I don't think that this show is like groundbreaking, but it doesn't need to be in this case, in my opinion. It can just be funny. Yeah, David, one of my biggest gripes is that the dialogue felt super not natural. And when you try to like put something in the real world, and for us as an audience to like believe it, one of the things you need to focus on is like the dialogue. It can be comedic and it can have like a purpose, but like that scene where they're standing out front of that thing and she's like, you're just ugly and stupid and I hate you. And he's like,
yeah, it's like fucked up.
Well, you were just dealt better stats when you rolled out into the world. Like nobody.
Yeah,
like,
that was such a like, nobody acts like that. And a guy like that is not going, like, if she's laying into him,
lash out
he's just gonna quietly take it and then leave.
Yeah, like what was his character?
He's not like, you're just an S-tier character.
S-tier character.
I'm just a low-tier character. Life is the worst game there is.
And then she's like,
You're
just wait here.
okay.
I'm gonna take you to my room, and then I'm gonna get all dressed down, and you're gonna think I'm cute. I was like,
You're gonna think I'm not.
Yeah,
cute.
that was weird too. Like, why did that happen? Like,
straight to her bedroom.
Like, they don't know each other at all. Like,
Straight
they
to
know
her
that
bedroom.
this, but she's like, come to my room. I'm gonna make you a better human.
Yeah,
like
that's so wild. Such like strange stretches of the imagination to get us to where it needed to be.
It gets better though. I don't know.
Maybe it does. Okay, so thumbs for this one, boys. 3, 2, 1.
wait, before we go, just a quick fun fact in case anyone was interested. Light novel, manga, anime. This is adapted by Project Number 9, which they haven't done anything that I recognize. It looks like a lot of isekai.
Well, the animation it was actually okay. I didn't have any.
Yeah, the animation, I liked it. I thought the animation was pretty clean.
Thought it was nice.
Yeah, I think my biggest gripe is just the conversations were pretty ass.
Dialogue and stuff like that.
Pretty unrealistic dialogue, yeah.
But we all agree, and I'm actually giving this a side thumb. It's just entertaining enough that it's kind of fun. Like, it was just absurd enough that I actually kind of like it in a way. So I will see if I keep up with it, but definitely a little bit of goofiness. Exclusively streaming on Funimation also this season, so exclusively streaming on Funimation if you want to catch bottom tier character Tomozaki. Okay,
What's
number.
The next one,
we're just at about halfway now, boys. So we have a lot to go, and we are over an hour plus deep. So
let's keep on going, boys.
Number 7 is called Back Arrow. And let me preface this one too. I picked this show because I really thought we were in for a treat with this one. The show is directed by Goro Taniguchi, and I want to say Goro is known for directing Code Geass, I think is what he was known for, and some other very popular show. I feel like he has another show under his belt too that was very good.
Space Dandy.
Goro is a pretty acclaimed director, and I think this was written by the guy who wrote like Mobile Suit Gundam G, like one of the best Gundam series of all time. I can't think of the guy's name that wrote it. So I handpicked this show because I was like, what a team. I was like,
Yuki Nakashima.
Okay, and doesn't he have a couple other writing credits under his belt too? I can't remember. Mostly
Kill la Kill.
Oh yeah, Kill la Kill. The guy who wrote Kill la Kill.
Kamen Rider 4's Gurren Lagann.
Guys, this is Lagann. This is the writer of Kill la Kill and Lagann. The writer of Kill la Kill and Lagann. The director of Code Geass. I thought this was about to be a smash fucking hit. We're in for a conversation on Back Arrow.
Is about like some things.
Tell us, Kenny, give us the synopsis. What's the synopsis?
So they didn't do a big exposition dump, okay? No. And I think that I'm not a big fan of those, but sometimes shows need them. I had no goddamn idea what was going on. Some things were falling out of the sky, and some like 2 different nations are at war. Also, there's a big wall or something that people treat as God. The walls give you the things that fall out of the sky. Guess what, though? 2 things fell out of the sky. Only once a month things fall out of the sky. Today, 2 things fell. Also, whenever you put these things on your arms and get into a battle, you die if you lose the battle.
You die.
And that was like...
First, it was like, you die if you lose.
4 minutes.
You die if you lose. And then what cracked me up about it was like later... You can learn that people can just give up. They can just retreat and get out of their thing. They just can take it off. I was like, where are the stakes? I was like, why introduce that they die if you're just gonna let them pick it off?
Our main guy. Okay, so then 2 things fall out of the sky. Guess what? In the second one, there's a dude in it. There's a guy in there.
Yep.
And he's naked for some reason. And
completely naked.
They're like, eat his ass.
There's like literally 2 minutes. There's a 2-minute investment in this episode whenever they did no exposition, so I don't know what these warring states are. I don't know who any of these characters are that we met. I don't know how they got to these positions they're in. I don't know what sort of, like, she was like, I need to come protect you because you're the something or other. I don't know what that is. I don't know the structure of this land. But they spent 2 minutes of them, like, lighting a fire under this dude's like capsule thing, going like food
doing like some caveman dancing around fire bullshit.
And then he comes out of the pod, and then a wasteland guy is coming. So the second thing falls out of the sky into an area that neither the two nations own, and there are two nations for some reason that we don't know much about. Neither two nations own this area where the thing falls. There's a guy in there. They try to eat him, and then a dude comes, and he's like, "I'm gonna take that shit." And then like, no. And then he like turns into a big robot after like protecting a girl. And then, okay, listen. In this episode, they establish that you die if you lose the battles with the Breitbarts or whatever, the brave bulls.
Yeah.
You die if you lose. And he beats the guy, and the guy does not die. And that's like, there was an establishment in this episode of things that exist, and then
the show continued. It just continued to say things that didn't matter. It just every single dialogue piece just didn't matter.
She was like, "You can't leave. You're the chancellor," and then he just like leaves anyway.
Yeah.
She's like, "Well, I'll just go with you." Oh, people die if they fight with these things on, except just now, and like.
You guys know why it's called Back Arrow?
That's his name.
Oh, that's just the main character's name.
That's the main character's name, Back Arrow.
That's it.
Wait, why did they name him that, though?
They made a bit, like, right at the end of that episode where he said
it was like calling him an idiot, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, his name was... They were like, "You're a baka."
Yeah.
And so he's like, "No, Back Arrow."
Baka Yaro, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they said...
It's Baka Yaro. It's Baka Yaro, and it's a play on it. Yes.
He's like, "I'm
Guys,
Back Arrow now."
Guys.
He doesn't... He genuinely... They gave him underwear, and he didn't put them on.
Yeah.
He just wanted the free flow. I was just so confused by this show. Like,
David,
we went straight in, and I was like, I can't follow along.
Was there any other like thing? Because we already talked about the director and the what's the studio that did this?
Director Goro Taniguchi, written by Kazuki Nakashima. This is an original anime adaptation series created by the two.
Mm-hmm.
It is produced by Studio Voln.
Oh, they have
at
least one other show that I think I know.
They did 3 shows.
Okay.
What shows?
Ushio and Tora.
Oh,
Idol Incidents.
I watched
Karakuri Circus.
I know of Karakuri Circus too.
And they did 2 films. I Want to Eat Your Pancreas and Usuzumizakuro Garo. So
I Want to Eat Your
haven't heard of
Pancreas
any
is
of
pretty
those
well
shows.
established too. Actually, pretty good studio.
I'm about to say
Jesus
everything.
Christ.
Are those all well done?
Yeah, those are all. Yes, this is like
everything
a dream
about
team.
This. Yeah, everything about this is from people that have done good anime.
This is frustrating to hear. Like, to know that this is directed by, written by, and produced by this group of people. I'm not sure how this made it out. Like, I don't know.
It's pretty ass. I'm not gonna lie.
Samurais, cowboys, and robots. What the fuck was this, guys? They worship a wall. Why was he naked?
Like,
this felt like
what happens.
This felt like what happens when like old people try to write something that they still think is relevant. Like it felt like they were trying to draw, like
trying to be hip.
Yeah. Like cowboys and samurais and robots and naked guys. Like that's like the it almost kind of rhymed. You know what I mean? It just felt like they just like started like, and it just blows my mind because Gurren Lagann is such a masterclass in writing.
So good,
and
bro.
Code Geass is such a masterclass of direction. And these two are not weak at what they do. And that studio has produced Ushio and Tora is a really good looking show. And I will say the show didn't look bad.
Looks great.
It looked fine. Yeah. The production studio held up their end. It looked good. And I think the intro song was by the same lady who did the intro to Demon Slayer. I think it was.
Lisa.
Yeah. So the intro was pretty good. I thought this was a good song at least. But Jesus Christ, this was a shit show. I mean, it was incomprehensible. There was nothing happening.
The direction was very all over the place.
Yeah.
He never put clothes on. They introduced like at least 10 characters, and like we barely got names for them.
Yeah.
Like we like genuinely met like 15 fucking characters.
I hate to say it, but this is really this is on the writer's back, in my opinion. I think that I don't know what's wrong with him. Stop. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know if he's unwell. How do you write Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann and then write this? Like, I get it. Not everything's gonna be not everything's gonna be a home run. Not everything's gonna be a banger when you're a writer. But this feels like some shit that he thought up while he was like taking a dump, and someone like saw the script and they were like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be good." And he was like, and they were just like, "No, we're gonna rush it into production." And the guy was like, "Oh, maybe don't." Okay, like, this felt like his like shit script, like something they're like, "We gotta produce something. Do you got anything in here?" Well, I got this one about samurais and cowboys and naked guys and robots. Yeah. Let's just do it. This was terrible. This was almost.
I'm getting more information from the Wikipedia plot than I got from watching that episode.
This was almost unwatchable. I mean, I don't know why were they dressed like cowboys, and that one girl had like such a fucking. She was just unnecessarily like revealing, in her cowboy outfit.
She's the sheriff, bro.
Yeah, and then I forgot. Oh, one of the just top tier writing moments of this episode. She walks in her room, she grabs her robot band, and they're like, "No, don't." And she's like, "My dad was the sheriff, and now I'm the sheriff."
And she like had the sheriff badge on.
Guys, that was the most like that felt like fucking
Atlee, right? Is that her name?
That felt like Perfect Hair Forever. Like that didn't feel real. I was like, what? I was like, who's the sheriff? Yeah. I was like, the sheriff of the cowboy town?
Oh,
what?
God.
They spent so much time cooking his pod. I don't get it. Couldn't they have done just a little exposition?
Dude, what were those guys when they were fighting? Why were those two samurai guys watching them with normal ass binoculars? They're in a fucking robot. It's a robot.
They're like, "Oh, we can listen to him now."
I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
This show is a joke.
Probably the coolest thing about this show is that I think the bright Barts or whatever they call the Brihite Muga is what the Wikipedia page is calling them.
What do they call them?
Brihite Muga.
Brihite.
Yeah, Brihite Muga. And like to like activate it, they have to like shout their conviction.
Yes.
Which I mean, that shows like some character,
Then David, Back Arrow was like, "I don't have any convictions."
Yeah, what the actual fuck? They established, they kept doing that. Here's a thing that is existing in this world. Oh wait, this thing breaks that rule already. Why? Why keep saying the rules if they don't matter? Oh my god. I hated the show.
Oh, his unique ability is, since he lacking a solid conviction, the manifested armor is composed of a malleable gel-like material that absorbs attacks. It is also able to destroy active bind warpers without killing the user, which is noted to be a unique ability.
Oh, there we go, Kenny. That's why he didn't die.
Right,
it's unique to him.
It was unique to Back Arrow.
Of course, everything that we got explained.
It makes sense now, right?
Why didn't they tell us that?
I think they did.
Did they actually say that?
Or was it just like,
or was it just telling us
about
what the fuck?
No, the two guys that were talking on the ridge with the binoculars were like, "Oh wow."
I don't want to get too in the weeds.
Only his could do that.
I don't want to get too in the weeds about how bad this show was, but just to put it in perspective, the last 6 shows we talked about, even Spider, which I hated, this is just the worst. I mean, this is just the worst thing we've talked about tonight. This is this is a fatter thumbs down than I will ever like.
There's the pedigree.
There's only one other show that I'm going to give a fatter thumbs down today to, but this is the second worst show on the list. But there's one that is so obnoxiously bad that's even worse than this.
I'm upset I watched that one. I can't ever get those 22 minutes back. I genuinely paused it at 8 minutes and was like, "Am I willing to?"
Oh, listen, I almost turned it off. We couldn't get to the. Okay, we got to get to that later, though.
Okay. Well, let's thumb
Back
this
Arrow.
one.
Okay, thumb for Back Arrow. I'm giving Back Arrow a thumbs up because the pedigree of the show. I have to finish it. I don't know.
It's like a train wreck.
I agree. It's so.
Somebody went to a pizza place for anime, and they put all of my favorite things about anime
the best
on
shit,
one
the
pizza,
best stuff.
And I bit into it, and I was like, "That's a weird taste." So I gotta watch another episode.
Oh my god.
Oh, I gotta just do one more bite. Just one more bite. Maybe it'll be different.
It's so confusing. This show makes no sense that it has such a guys.
It's a lot. It's a lot at once.
It makes me
maybe episode 2 will like give us some exposition, maybe, or it might be some of the same, song and dance. We don't know. We'll have to see.
Or he's gonna put the damn thing on.
Put the sheriff badge on.
I'm already pretty much bought into the fact that this show is going to be a monster of the week type of show. I think that each episode is going to be a different, like Bright Hurt user is going to show up, and Back Hero is going to have to fight his way through it each week, and it's going to be just that. Oh, Kenny.
What?
Oh, I thought you were saying something, so I couldn't hear you, but I can hear you.
Oh, that's what I thought about Gurren Lagann, bro, and
you're right.
Then Kamina died,
and
bro.
this is the guy.
What if Back Arrow dies?
Maybe he needs to, because I don't know what
the hell.
Well,
apparently he can't die because that's his ability. He can't die. So
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
He can't die? What?
I guess when he's in his Bright Heart, he can't die.
Where are people getting it? Was this in the first? This is an original anime. This is the first episode ever. And
I mean it's in the wiki. So I mean, wiki's pretty reliable. So I go to wiki for everything. So if wiki says it, it's got to be true.
I feel uncomfortable about how bad this show was. Okay.
All right. What's next show?
Let's blaze on through. We got a lot of shows to cover still. We still have like 6 more. So we probably got hours left. Okay. The next show is called SK8 the Infinity. Exclusively streaming on Funimation. SK8 the Infinity. Yep. This is also now David, check me on this. I think this is also directed by Goro Taniguchi and also an original anime. I think he's directing 2 shows this season.
No.
Shit.
He might be one of them, but he's not credited as the main director.
Okay. No, then I'm thinking of a different show. He is doing a second show this season, but I'm forgetting what the second show is. Maybe it was the other skating anime that I almost added. Skate Lead Stars. It might be that one.
Oh, possibly.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
I'm looking at the remaining ones and I don't see his name.
Okay, Kenny, synopsis.
SK8 the Infinity is about some guys who skateboard. Like I don't know. I really enjoyed SK8 the Infinity.
Right.
I really liked the opening song. I really liked the ending song. I really liked it's very Air Gear-esque, if you've ever seen Air Gear.
I said the same thing, Kenny.
And dude, so our main character likes to skateboard, and then a new guy from Canada moves to his town, and he's looking for a job, and he comes to the skate shop, and he's like, bro, you should learn how to skateboard too. And it turns out this guy actually snowboarded, and so he's kind of already good at skateboarding. And like the skateboarding bits are cool. I like watching them skateboard. Yeah. I don't know, man. I want to see some more skateboarding, and it's really stylish. Okay, I really like the stylish aspect of the characters and the show. But yeah, that's
cool. The main character is kind of like a Naruto personality, like whimsical, goofy, silly, and then his friend that he meets, the guy from Canada, is kind of like a aloof lancer.
Perfect.
And so the cool thing about the show is it's so beautiful because it's animated by Bones. Which they do a great job. It's also an original.
It is original.
It is original.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all off the domes of the creators.
Right.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about the show. I feel like with these types of shows, like the main draw to it is its animation and its looks, its whole aesthetic. I feel like it killed it in the first episode.
Yeah.
So I mean, it should just be more cool animation.
Yeah, I'm about to say I really like this show, and I don't think I have much more else to add.
Big props
I really liked it. It was really great.
Big props to Bones, because with a show like this, you go into it just totally blind. Like all we knew was the title and some of the artwork. And there's no manga to go read, there's no light novel to check out, so you go into the first episode totally blind, and you just kind of get to experience it. And it's kind of this is kind of this season's Akudama Drive for me. It's kind of out of left field. It's kind of got a very aesthetic that you kind of are drawn to, and if it nails that, and it did in the first episode, then bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a potential hit on your hands, because you don't really have to do a lot more than that, as long as the dialogue feels natural and the characters feel comfortable, then people are gonna like and enjoy that. And I think the writing, whoever the writer is, did a good job of making these characters feel like they were skateboarders and were living in this little Japanese town. And there was even some like insight. The moment where the main guy is talking to the shop owner, they kind of had this like joke between them, and it kind of like gave breadth to the world. Like you knew that they had been around each other a lot, because they had like an inside joke that they made about the him saying that the shop was closing down or didn't have the tax money or whatever it was, and he was like, no, he was like, no, fuck you, yeah, it does, like you always say that or whatever. And I was like, oh, that like adds depth to these characters that we know that they existed before we got to see them, and we know that they're existing now. Like that sort of stuff is a key writer trick that I think that really establishes world and character. And it's simple because this is set in the real world, but it was pretty fantastical. Like there was a lot of there was a lot of elements. I mean, the character of Shadow was like, he's goofy to the extreme, and that's what
I love.
That's what was cool about
him.
The
anti-hero of the skating.
Right, like you're not going to go on the streets and find a guy like Shadow. Well, you might actually, sadly enough. Maybe if you're in LA, you might. But that's what made this so fun. It was both realistic, but also a little bit fantastical. There was like a little bit of fun, a little bit of a fantasy to it, and I like that because when they were skating, it was very on the air. You know, it was very and
Wonder was shredding like a motherfucker.
Yeah, no lie, like beautiful to watch the skating sequences. They nailed it.
Yeah.
It also felt a little bit, and Kenny, you probably felt this too, a little bit of like a basic like sports anime setup too. Like
a little bit.
Two characters competing. I could see them maybe even ending up in some sort of skating competition at some point.
Or on the same skate team.
Right, like skating together for some sort of end goal. It felt like a little bit of that standard sports anime, but that works. It's a tried and true formula that really does work, and as long as the characters are interesting and you get to have fun with them, I'm here for it. So you're right, not a lot more to say from me, but I really, this might be one of my favorite of the season.
Yeah, honestly, I have a question though.
Mm-hmm.
Was the main, like the guy that we were seeing behind the scenes, was he giving all fucking Dio vibes or what?
Yes,
Dio, Kono Dio da.
Dio.
I literally said that. I said, Alyssa, is this
that was the point I wanted to bring up.
Yes.
That's weird. Yeah, he's Dio.
He's Dio, bro.
He has like the Dio hair. He's got vampire.
Yes, he looks like Dio.
Poses.
Yeah, he's a vampire. He's a skating vampire.
I hope he does some crazy vampire shit.
There better be no reference in the show.
Honestly, loved it. So
I really enjoyed the show.
Other thoughts, David? Did you? Oh,
there was one thing I wanted to say. So I do anticipate there being like competitions, but I think what we see traditionally with sports manga is that it's like in a school setting, so it's like a lot more structure with, there's a summer tournament, and then there's like national tournament for the school, best in the high school, whatever. But with this being, like street skating, it's a lot of underground environments, which I think have given more room for more creativity and just more different types of, types of circumstances, different types of trials or like skate battles that they can do.
There could be fun stuff. Like in the first episode, remember the guy who was like, if you lose, like you're gonna have to get a fucking tattoo of or I'm gonna put slut above your girlfriend's name tattooed on your back or whatever.
And
damn, the stakes can be different, and there can be more at stake, which is because like when they lose in a tournament in high school, it's like, oh no, they lost. That sucks.
Yeah, try again next year.
Yeah,
damn.
But you're right. There can be a little bit more of things to be at stake there.
There's higher stakes.
The adult characters seemed cool too, because I think there's going to be a lot of training with them. Like the calligraphy shop owner as well. Some cool setup and cool world build. Right, like we already know this guy like owns a calligraphy shop because they did something really simple, and they showed our one of our leads go there looking for a job, and that was like a great setup for a just really. I hate it when I watch a show like Spider, where Spider was the worst exposition dump of a show. Like it was literally Spider-Chan talking to the screen for 22 minutes. Yeah. And then you watch a show like this where
then it's even you watch a show like Back Arrow where there's just fucking nothing.
Yeah, but jeez, I can't talk about Back Arrow anymore, Kenny. You're gonna kill me, dude.
There's just fucking nothing, and you're like confused.
Comparatively, when you watch a show like this, or even a show like Seiin High School Boys, it kind of had the same way, where the scenes and the dialogue sets up the world, and you're able to see the world that way. And I think that it feels so much more natural. You feel much more in tune with the show, and it just feels less lazy and less boring. It makes the show much more intriguing. So I really liked Skate for that matter. So, yeah. Ready, guys?
Did we already do thumbs or
No, boys. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. This is my first thumb up.
Triple up.
It's my first thumb up.
Triple up.
I'd say, someone write it down. This is probably one of our top 3, because at the end we like to decide what our top 3 are. This is probably going to be one of them.
Oh yeah, this is. And this was also my favorite opening and ending, like straight up.
Oh, I love the opening for this show. When I rewatched them all, because after I watched everything, I went back and rewatched all the openings that I could, because some of them didn't have openings yet, because the first episode just didn't have one. But this is one that I love the opening for this show. It was a little goofy. It's kind of got those shots where it's like it shows the guy and then like shows their name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like those shots. Though.
But the song was a blast.
Oh, one last thing that I just remembered.
Sure.
So it was really, really cute. I don't think I've seen a show do this where like the transition into a commercial, there was like a little mini scene of
Oh yeah.
It was like Reki helping Longa like skateboard.
Yeah.
And it was like in a very chibi version.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cute.
I wonder if they'll do more with that, if they'll like make little mini scenes from this point forward, or if they'll just
I
repeat.
hope.
They might repeat that one or like use a couple other bumpers, but I like that a lot. Okay. Next show. And by the way, Skate's on Funimation if I didn't say that. Next show is, I don't know the full title. I just know it is Horimiya. It's like Horisan to Miyamura.
Horisan to Miyamura-kun.
Yes. So Horimiya. Kenny, I know you're a big fan. So what is
Horimiya,
don't spoil the manga on this one like you're a spider.
No spoilers. Okay.
What happened in the first episode of Horimiya? What's the plot?
So in the first episode of Horimiya, you meet this girl, Hori, who is sort of this type A, sort of like not class representative, but like sort of the, does well in school and does this and that. But then she gets invited to go out with her friends to go karaoke. She's like, I'm busy today, actually. And so she actually has to go home, pick up her younger brother, clean up the house, make dinner for her family. And so like that's sort of her, like, she's like, oh, I'm this popular girl in school, but I'm also this sort of like, I don't know, like homemaker for my family. And then her younger brother gets hurt, and she gets picked up by this dude who is this sort of, he has piercings. He has like piercings in his ears, and he has his hair up, and he's got like a piercing in his mouth, and he's got tattoos. And you're like, who is this guy? And then they sit down and they're talking. And he's like, oh, you're Hori-san from my class. And they're like, who are you? And it's this dude, Miyamura, who at school sort of makes himself look like a bit of a neat style of guy. Mm-hmm. And so they both sort of live this altered life at home, where they're what they have at school is not sort of who they are at home, or whenever they're out of school. And so they both sort of share that connection with each other. And this is a romance show, so it's about some slowly developing romances. This episode did go a little fast. I actually think they skipped a little bit, and they mention it at the end because right at the end of the episode, she's like, well, who's going to come over and eat your portions or do this or do that? And I think those were chapters on their own. I think it was like 3 or 4 chapters, but it sort of just skipped to the next big story beat.
Yeah.
And sort of.
How much of this manga is out, Kenny, or is it over? Or?
I think there's like 80 chapters. I don't think it's over.
Oh, then there's not a really.
It says the manga's done on the wiki.
Oh, it does.
Or is that the
I think the web series.
The webtoon, yeah, because there was a web series. Oh, then there's a manga.
Are they basing this off the manga or the web series? Do you know?
This is based because the web series is called something else.
Oh.
Or it's
Dokai Hen or something.
Yeah, and so the web series has a different art style. This is based off of the manga series Horimiya.
Okay, and that is still going and only has about 80 chapters. Okay, so because I was wondering, I was like, maybe they're just trying to blast through it, and that pacing might work For a show like this, I prefer a little faster pace.
I think that they wanted to get to that next story beat. I think that the other guy asking her out does not happen very quickly.
Okay, well, I mean,
yeah, I totally can understand them wanting to speed it up.
Right. I mean, it also
it didn't feel rushed.
No, exactly. The pacing actually felt good for this episode. Honestly, in my opinion, and I think they needed a little bit of tension in the to present like a. The show needed a. If the first episode had just been them goofing off, having fun, and like going on dates, I there just wouldn't have been anything to compel you to keep watching.
Right.
So it needed to have something in like an antagonist, not an antagonist though technically,
some kind of conflict. Happening.
Thank you. Yeah, it needed a conflict, and it was able to introduce that in what I felt was really natural way. David, thoughts? Horimiya, what do you think? Any news or any info also?
So we said that it's so originally it was based on a web series comic made by someone that goes by the alias of Hero.
Yep.
And that was adapted into a manga that was serialized in Square Enix magazine, Gangan Comics. Yep. So Square Enix. So I think Square Enix has published at least 4 or 5 of the shows that we've watched.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Yeah, more this season. I wonder if they just got some good deals this season to like do some productions. I don't know.
Maybe.
Weird.
And the animation is done by Cloverworks. Which I like Cloverworks
Promised Neverland, maybe? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Yeah.
They did Horimiya. They're doing Horimiya. They did Promised Neverland, and they also did Wonder Egg Priority, which
we're also going to talk about. Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I thought I really liked. For some reason, the characters in this anime stood out to me the most out of all the manga or out of all the series
shows
that we watched.
Yes, yeah.
For some reason, I just really, really connected and liked the 2 main characters here. I wonder if it's trying to just give the lesson of don't judge a book by its cover type thing. I'm interested to see more. I mean, obviously, it looks like they're going to be, dating and be in a relationship with each other. So I'm just interested to see more of what's to come. And it looks like it's already going to be getting a live action.
Oh, cool!
In a TV drama adaptation.
That's kind of cool.
In a month. So it looks like was there a lot of hype behind this show before it aired? I think you were saying.
I really like Horimiya. It's maybe my favorite romance.
There was a list. I found a list that was like, what are people most excited? They like polled people in Japan, and it was like, what are you most excited about for the season of anime? And I want to say Horimiya was the highest up. Like new anime of the season. It was like the most.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I want to say it was the one that had, because there, like Promised Neverland season 2 was like above it, and like, but it was like number 8 or 9, so it was like the highest up like new original series that was coming out. It was like that and the Volleyball Boys one, and I want to say those were the 2 that, and Back Arrow was actually on the list. I think of ones that were hyped. But, obviously it had hype because it's such a good team. Behind Back Arrow, people had some reason. They had reason to be hyped.
You were hyped. It got you.
Their expectations were let down. Cool.
I don't understand what happened.
My only thoughts on Horimiya is I really enjoyed this show. David, you nailed it. I mean, the characters were just so cool and likable, and it just contributed to a super fun first episode. This is a show that just feels good. I mean, it was very happy. Remember when we watched My Love Story, and it was the story of the first couple episodes introduced the relationship, and the rest of the show was actually more about coming to terms or enjoying your relationship with that person. And I got the same vibes here in a different way. They obviously are way different types of characters, but just the fact that this is going to be a very feel good and very a show that's about not judging books. But I mean, My Love Story had the same concept. This don't judge a book by its cover sort of love story. And I'm excited to see what they do here because there's a lot more original concepts and some really cool characterization. And I like this, especially like comparatively to last season that had a really good romance, which was Tonikawa. Another, and I feel like Horimiya can kind of fill that void for anyone looking for something this season. In the same vein that Tonikawa's coming back for another season later, but for now, I think Horimiya is a great one, and just so many cool character moments. The final moment at the end, after
Where
the
he's
other boy,
crying with him.
the other boy asked her out or whatever, and she said no, but then she was obviously frustrated because it seemed like he didn't understand that she was obviously interested. Really, really solid, gripping dialogue writing too. So I always like a show that's got some really good natural dialogue, and I do feel like this show had some of the better pacing. This and the Volleyball Boys one had really good structured pacing where things felt. It felt like the first episode had a full arc of story, like if that makes sense.
Right.
So
yeah,
this and the Volleyball one definitely both had that sort of situation come up. So I don't know, loved it. I really loved it.
All right,
boys,
let's
ready?
thumbs it up. Thumbs it up, Daddy.
3, 2, 1, and to your surprises, I'm on it too, guys. I gotta watch this show. I liked it so much.
Triple thumb,
okay,
baby.
so we were saving the good for last, right?
Yeah, some of the, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I don't, but there's a lot of good.
Actually, the last couple ones we're talking about, there is more good. There, I mean, definitely the first half of this season.
Well, there's one.
There's one.
Wait, is it next?
It's not next. It's not next. Okay. The next one we're going to talk about is Kemono Jihen, which I think translates to demon something.
It's like the demon detective, or
something like that.
I can look it up real quick.
Kenny, quick plot synopsis.
Kemono Jihen is, we get introduced to a boy who is like what is he? They call him like trash or no name. And he's they're sort of in this.
They had like a nickname for him, like Dirty Boy or something.
Kabane,
Dirty Boy.
Kabane, which translates to dirty.
Kabane.
Yeah.
And so he's sort of in this, and some cattle is being killed, and so this detective from Tokyo comes out to sort of figure this out, and slowly we figure out that actually he is a ghoul. He's a demon. He's a yokai, and it turns out this detective from Tokyo is he's a tanuki. Mm-hmm. And so he sort of does these detective agency things about yokai and demons throughout Japan, and so he wasn't actually brought there to deal with the livestock being killed by the ghoul. He was brought there to kill Kabane.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does that, and you think it's all sad, and then you're like, oh well, yeah, I just said like ghouls can't die. You can't kill ghouls.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he just like, it's like, so I'm taking you, man. Like, come work for me at my detective agency.
Yep.
And so it's just sort of this like we just get this first little case of the cattle being killed, and we get a little backstory about him in that area. But yeah, and then they go to Tokyo.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much it. David, anything interesting?
Yeah.
Any interesting?
It's like a typical shonen supernatural. It is under Shueisha, but it's not in Shonen Jump. It's in Jump Square,
right?
Which I don't know what that is.
I think it's their monthly shonen. It's either monthly or bi-weekly.
You're right. It's a monthly shonen.
Okay, it's their monthly shonen. So this is still very much under the Shonen Jump. This is, I think, Claymore ran in the same. The same thing. So this is very much under the Shonen Jump umbrella, but you won't see it appearing in anything that's like weekly Shonen Jump, which is its own weekly publication. Right. That's kind of the if you're this is for listeners. So you're not going to see this paired up with Goku and Yuji and Tanjiro. You're not going to see the guys from Kemono Jihen there, but do know that this is still all owned by the same company. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is all a Shueisha and a Jump property. So it is certainly on the outskirts of that Jump property, but it is there. And there have been manga that have switched back and forth. D. Grayman is a notable one that ran in weekly Shonen Jump, and then due to some health issues got moved over to Jump Square because Shueisha just had, wanted to keep publishing it. So there is some overlap between these series. So just know that this is very much a shonen manga running in a shonen manga magazine under the master of shonen manga, which is Shueisha. Shueisha is behind this. So
is Chainsaw Man moving to Jump Square, or
it was implied? Yeah,
I think.
No, not Jump Square. It's moving to Jump Plus. Yeah, Jump Plus.
Plus.
Yeah,
that's their web. It's
Never mind.
It's their internet one, Kenny. It's what Spy
Yeah.
Family
Oh,
actually
okay.
goes on. Yeah, it's
Oh,
internet
okay.
exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Kenny.
And I think I don't think we've said, and for those of you listening that might not know, shonen means young boys.
Yes. Yeah.
So basically, all the popular anime that you know, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach, those are all shonen.
Shonen.
So
yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
young boy. You're a young boy.
Young
We're
boy,
all
yeah.
young boys.
we're all
Yeah.
young boys.
Yeah, and by
We're all
young,
shonen
by
heads.
young, it doesn't mean like freaking like 8-year-olds. You know, it's referring to like middle school
Like
boys.
12
I
to
mean,
16,
11 to
Yeah.
16. Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. That's the target audience when they make these sorts of shows. But
Yeah.
because of
So,
Japan,
Kemono Jihen, yeah.
because Japan is kind of weird, like they may have some slightly mature themes that are for an American might think this doesn't feel like it's being targeted at 11 to 16-year-old boys because of maybe the violence or the use of curse words. But you have to realize that in Japan, like those are pretty standard for young, like that's not considered mature like it would be in America.
Right.
But yes, okay, Kenny.
So Kemono Jihen, I've read this manga. I think I've read like 60 chapters or however. There might not even be 60 chapters out, because monthlies are like 40 pages. But
Right.
it's a fun. I like the concept. I really like the concept of like sort of a yokai detective. I mean that's fairly common, but I like it here. And I like the characters. I like what is his actual name?
Fun. I said it right at the end just once.
I know, but that's all they
Kabane?
call.
Oh, wait, his real name.
Yeah, what's his real?
I can't remember.
I'm clicking on the Wikipedia article, but no, his name is Kabane. What were they calling him?
Oh, then he
like
had a different
shit
name.
kid. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
it was like
They're-
dirty. I
They were
told you it was like-
shitting on me. Like, man, you smell like shit. You dirty.
Yeah.
As You got flies living on
Well,
you.
yeah, I'm about to say ghoul smell because they are
They have a ghoul.
rotting.
They have a ghoul smell. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like the concept and I like the characters in the show, and I think that Kabane in particular is really like he's a fun character. I love that in
Really?
the first episode they show that sort of characterization where he acts very quickly, where the Tanuki is like, "Hey, you can't kill it," and he's like, "Cool," and then he just like twists its head off and pops its neck, and you're like, and even the detective is like, "Whoa, man, like chill, like that was quick." But Kabane in particular is he's driven, and I really like him throughout the series, throughout the manga, and the way he slowly develops because he's sort of this mistreated kid that, you know, hopefully develops into really loving and caring for his friends and family. So,
Yeah.
Did you guys pause when the detective pulled down like his ball sack?
Bro, that was his like tail. It was his
That's his
tail.
tail.
David
His
said that's
butt,
his
bro.
ball sack. No.
that's his butt, bro.
Look at his face. Look at David's face.
He's a Tanuki, bro.
He was showing his
Hold on a
Tanuki
minute.
tail. He was showing
That
his
looked like a
Tanuki-
ball sack.
Oh my
I'm
god.
just saying, it looked like a fucking ball sack.
I mean, I
It's
thought
fucking
I thought
mooning
the-
a little kid.
I thought the line of dialogue was a little odd because he goes,
He was like, "Look at my tail."
yeah, I'm gonna have to show you something. It's gonna be a little weird. I'm gonna pull my pants down now," and then he like pulls his pants down. And I was like,
Yeah.
bro, Kabane didn't need you to say that. I was like, you said that you said that for yourself, you goofball. But I think I really like that character. I like his the detective. I think that he's going to be a lot of fun. He came
Gave
off
me
as
Kisuke vibes.
Yes,
Inugami
yeah.
is his name.
a lot of Urahara.
Or Urahara
Yeah,
vibes.
Kisuke Urahara.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of, I mean, sort of this. We have a lot of teacher characters in anime right now that are very popular, like Gojo, and like, I mean, it starts with Kakashi, Urahara.
Yeah.
But then you've also got, like I said, Gojo. You've got
Aizawa.
Aizawa. That's exactly what I was trying to think of. Aizawa. You know, those are and this kind of fits that same archetype for Kabane here. He's kind of the a bit aloof, a little perverted, a little bit fun, sort of older male character in the lead character's life. So I'm excited for that character. This show was it's very. There's no way around it. This is standard shonen fare. Like you're not gonna get anything. It didn't seem to have anything of like particular depth. More, you know,
Right.
it was well scripted. It was really well paced. What's the animation studio, David? Did you have that?
It is Agia Do Animation Works.
I don't know anything about them.
I don't recognize any of these shows.
Doesn't sound familiar
So.
to me. Okay.
Oh, they did
weird.
Hokuto no Ken.
Oh, older one or
Ichigo
newer one?
Aji, 2015,
Okay, newer one. I haven't seen that. Okay.
and How to Not Summon a Demon Lord. I do
heard of
recognize
that. Heard of
name.
that. Yes.
That's that crap.
Well, okay, but beside the point, it looked nice. The show did look good. It
Yeah.
felt very standard shonen fare. But I can't I like a good shonen manga and anime because generally you have some really good theming. That's the one thing shonen really does well. You know, there's this theme of character growth, of adolescence, of growing into yourself that's always present in these sorts of manga and anime. And it also used a demons. I don't know what that was. That was a weird hiccup.
Are you being possessed?
No, demons are a popular theme right now. If you guys didn't know, between Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm not surprised to see another show pop up with sort of the same kind of concept at its core.
But they are yokai. I think that
right.
Like in Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer, they're just like demon.
Right.
These are like distinguishable yokai.
Yeah. So these are supposed to be based off like Japanese lore yokai, right? Is that what this is getting at, Kenny?
Right. Yeah, there were some kitsunes and some
Japanese actual lore in Japan, which is cool. It's cool too, but it's demons, which is popular right now. So they knew what they were doing. Just like how, being stuck in a video game was popular about 5 years ago. Demons are in right now. So you probably will see more demon shonens popping up. But yeah, I actually thought this was pretty good for standard shonen fare. Characters had good motivations, which is something that sometimes gets lost on me with some shonen. Like Fire Force, I struggled to really connect with the character's motivations sometimes. But this one, I feel like they have reason to do what they're doing. And I like that. So I hope that they stick to that. But yeah, I don't know, boys. This was nothing spectacular. But
I feel like it was pretty surface level, honestly. There wasn't really anything that was super deep or crazy over the top. It was just a very basic some action, some character introduction, but that was basically it.
I'm interested to see some later action scenes. There are some pretty cool fights in this manga, so I mean it's a shonen. So
well, guys, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna go up. Actually, Dave's gonna go in half.
Damn!
I'm gonna go up.
I might watch a few more episodes.
Yeah, I think that this is enough of there was enough there that like I always like to have a standard shonen on my watch list every season, and this fills that void for me. So I'm like, I'll throw this on the list and keep watching it because it's once a week, and unless it just gets really boring, which might happen, but I'll probably stick on it for a couple weeks.
What would you rate the opening and ending? Because I do not remember them.
This one, it didn't have. I don't think it had.
I don't think it had an opening.
No, I think
it was an ending.
Did it have an ending?
I think it may have had an ending, but I don't remember it very well, so it must not have been good.
I think it was.
We'll probably see the opening for episode 2. Is probably when we'll see it.
Okay.
But yeah, and by the way, Horimiya, Kemono Jihen, both exclusively streaming on Funimation. Again, most of the shows we're talking about on Funimation, with just a few that have gotten to Crunchyroll. Surprisingly, none of the acquisitions. I didn't hear anything for Amazon this season, which is weird. It seems like High Dive also didn't acquire anything, which is also weird. And then,
what about Netflix? Oh, Netflix has
Netflix got Beastars back and Seven Deadly Sins, but they didn't acquire anything new to my knowledge. Oh no, they did High Rise Invasion, but it's coming out later in the season, so it got delayed.
They're doing the Netflix thing.
They got High Rise Invasion.
High Rise Invasion is one that I've read.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna watch High Rise Invasion and probably review it later in the year because I'm excited about that one. But it's also starting late. It starts in like February or March, which is weird. Like middle of the season, which is really weird. Same thing with that YouTube show. There's an anime that YouTube acquired the rights to, and they're like airing it in like February or March or something. So those are still being considered.
Mike was talking about it.
Those are both still being considered winter anime, just later in the season. So they didn't make our list today, although both of them probably will be watched by us. Just we couldn't watch them yet because they're not out for a month or two.
Right.
But okay, Horimiya, Kemono Jihen, both Funimation. And now we're gonna move on to our last 3. So last 3 shows, guys. The next one.
I can't believe this one made it this far.
Which one? What?
Favorite one.
The next show we're gonna be talking about.
What's his
Jesus
name?
Christ,
What's
guys.
it called?
The name of the series is X-Arm.
Okay.
a true something.
Thumbs down.
Yep,
down.
that's just
thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
First off, just to set the stage, this might be the worst piece of shit that has been produced
I've ever seen.
It's bad, guys. It is bad. This is some bad shit. Kenny, you got to give us what the fuck was this?
Here's a story. Okay, here's a story. So first you're in 2020. And he's like, who am I? What am I? Is that me? And then you're in like 2012. And then the CG animated character is talking to his 2D animated brother about putting his best foot forward or something. And then he gets hit by a car. And then you're in 2030 and there's this android girl. Okay, I'm kind of being bullshit about this story because like the story isn't like it was semi-interesting to me. I was like, oh, this is kind of like androids and super-powered X-arms or whatever. But like, this show looks like dog shit. And it was not. It was.
Picture like Ruby.
But bad.
But
like,
bad.
Worse than that. Like, I think, I'm not a fan of the Ruby style, but I can understand if you
Not even Ruby. You guys remember GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64?
Yeah, this is an anime that's just GoldenEye from N64. Like, okay, you
guys remember Tekken? You guys remember Tekken on the PlayStation 1?
The Neo Geo?
Do you remember Final Fantasy VII?
Mortal Kombat 4 for the Nintendo 64. Pretty much all those were better than X-Arm. They looked better than X-Arm.
Okay, so this is like, first of all, the CG characters talking to the 2D character.
Oh my god!
Don't ever do that bullshit ever,
oh
please. Either make them all CG or all 2D. But there is a scene where this android girl, the first introduction of the android girl, is fighting all these guys, and it looks like she beats the shit out of all of them. And then they still have to like run away. Oh, we gotta run away deeper into the ship. It looks like she just beat them all. I don't know, like I was like, she won, so they're just gonna walk away.
The
now.
way that
like,
her model, the character model, like moves through the air as it fights is just the most strange looking experience of my life, guys.
It would look so cool if it was like animated correctly, like animated well. Apparently, so the animation studio is Visual Flight Studio.
Okay.
This is the only anime that they've ever done. This is the first anime.
Never stop doing it.
So at least judging based off of what I'm finding online, they don't even have a Wikipedia page.
No,
they have a anime list. Like,
and by the way, this is also a Crunchyroll. This is a Crunchyroll original, so Crunchyroll produced it. Yeah.
I just like. I wouldn't have the heart to ship this show.
I'm so sad.
If I was making this show, I wouldn't want people to see it. Yet, let's wait for it to be better. Can we just like,
or animated by someone else and not?
I wouldn't want people to see it.
I don't know, man.
My first thought when I was watching this show, I just immediately said out loud, I said, God, I feel so bad for the manga author because their story might be good and their artwork might be beautiful, but whatever the fuck this was an absolute. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if their story was good because you couldn't watch it. You couldn't sit there and actively watch this show without.
I was kind of interested in the story. Like the story, I was like,
if they're literally the plot that we get in this show, they butchered the plot. They took what little semblance of plot that, like, they took what was probably a pretty good plot from the manga based off my little quick scanning of the first chapter, what it looks like a pretty interesting concept, and they butchered the shit out of it, and then they animated it.
Just read the manga.
I'm concerned
as to X-Arm manga cover. The art is beautiful. Well done. Nicely done art.
I am just concerned. I'm just concerned that this show, like, I just feel so bad. I feel so bad. I just feel like there needs to be redemption for X-Arm. Like, the worst part is this is not over. This show's confirmed for a 13-episode season or 24, however long. This manga author is just gonna have to suffer through while 13 more episodes of this, or 24, I don't know how long, is just going to keep coming out, and no one's going to watch this. Nobody watched the first episode of this and said, damn, I'm in. No way. There's no way. That human being doesn't exist.
I almost turned this off. And I watch anything. I'll watch anything.
It's almost unwatchable. This is almost unwatchable. This is like, I almost want to tell the listeners to go and watch the first episode just to understand that this is not a joke. This was absolute horse shit. This was the worst. This was the worst production I've ever seen, and I feel so bad for everyone that worked on it because this was terrible. It was just terrible. The voice acting was terrible. The art and direction were terrible. The animation was terrible. The way that they plotted and rewrote the script of what the manga was is terrible. There was nothing redeemable about this show except the inklings of if there had been... The ending animation was a single photo that zoomed out. That was the ending. Do you guys remember this?
Oh, wait, the intro was just like the CG models like spinning.
Floating and spinning.
It was just like
miserable. And they were disgusting. The models look terrible.
Expressionless,
Incredible
zero
bad.
expression, single face.
It's so bad.
And they blink. That's
Right.
all they can do.
Some characters talk to 2D animated
Do you guys remember?
characters.
Let's just talk about Beastars, right? 3D
Beastars.
anime can be done incredibly well, and it can be
Yeah.
visually appealing. It can be beautiful. It can be, Beastars is borderline, not a mass, it's just an amazing anime. And it's fully 3D animated. I started a show called Dorohedoro that was on Netflix. Same studio that did Beastars. Again, incredible. Very well done. The art and animation, it really honors, it's 3D, but it honors the source material.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the fuck X-Arm is needs to die. It needs to not exist. It needs to be deleted. They need to just delete the first episode of Crunchyroll and start over. Delay this for 8 more months or something. Just start over. It didn't work. Just
The
stop.
manga looks so good too.
I just feel
like the
so
art in the
bad.
manga looks good.
Because the way that Crunchyroll and these sorts of streaming shows work, this whole season's going to have to come out. This can't get canceled 2 or 3 episodes in. They're going to have to see it through the completion. The team is going to have to work on this through to completion. And I just feel so bad for everyone involved in this project.
X-Arm has a good story.
Guys, when he possessed the girl's body and started fighting the guy.
What are you fighting, bro? It was just like...
She was like, get in me, enter me.
Yeah, that was...
Guys,
okay.
when he beat him, and he was like, I noticed that when you phase through stuff, you can only phase forward. I just made you phase your arms off the ship, you motherfucker. And he was like,
actually, the girl told me that. I wanted to turn it off.
What in the
It was
world
so bad.
was that? That was no. Okay.
I'm just gonna leave with my
Compose
best
myself.
foot, okay?
Compose myself here.
Left
three-
foot on it.
3, 2, 1.
Thumbs down. All right, next.
X-Arm's
Never
unwatchable.
turn X-Arm.
X-Arm's unwatchable.
I'm gonna imagine that X-Arm never existed.
Yep. X-Arm's unwatchable. It needs to just be deleted.
Watch
Delete
episode
that
1.
show.
Laugh at it. Never watch anymore.
Yes.
That's
it. Watch as much of episode 1 as you can take, because it's pretty
Takes the first, like, 3
it's pretty
minutes
tough,
and
guys. It's a pretty tough watch. Alyssa and I sat there with our mouths agape for 20 minutes. Like, this can't be an actual anime. This can't be real, right? Fuck. Okay. 2 shows left. Next one. By the way, Crunchyroll original and Crunchyroll streaming for X-Arm, if that's your jam.
Crunchyroll, bro, you were fucking up, man.
Yeah, they really had a rough season. I'm not gonna lie.
But also sponsor this podcast, Crunchyroll.
Yeah,
Call me.
Crunchyroll. I will admit,
Crunchyroll, are they like
was,
0 for 5?
Say again.
Isn't Crunchyroll originals? Aren't they like 0 for 5?
Yeah, they haven't done a good.
Oh, I like God of High School.
Fine.
Honestly,
we'll give him a
like
half a
We'll
point
give
for
him
God of High School.
We'll give him God of High School.
I like Tower.
But Noblesse,
Shut your mouth,
Tower of
Kenny.
God.
Shut your mouth, Kenny.
The first
I heard
episode,
Onyx
yeah.
Equinox is also very bad. That's another Crunchyroll original. that just
Yeah,
came out.
Mikey and Johnny watched it, and they were like,
I heard it's really bad. I'm not even gonna.
"Oh,
try.
Tony Kawa was Crunchyroll original."
Oh, Tony Kawa was. They did a great job with that.
So
That
we'll
one
give him
really felt
2.
good.
6, 2 for 5. We'll give him 2.
Okay, cool.
Spider
All
right.
But yes, Crunchyroll's on X-Arm. Or fuck, X-Arm's on Crunchyroll. Don't watch it. Okay, next show, Funimation exclusive simulcast of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Kenny.
So, Mushoku Tensei is what people like. It's actually one of the earlier isekais that ever existed, and it's one that people point to as one of sort of the trailblazers of the isekai genre. And so, Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnated is this 45-year-old NEET gets hit by a truck, classic isekai trope, and gets reincarnated as this boy, Rudeus Grey Rat. And he no cheat powers. He's not. He has no cheat. He doesn't have his cell phone. He's not a spider. He's just a dude. He's reincarnated as Rudeus Grey Rat. And it's just him. The first episode is just him growing up a little bit, and he learns that this world has magic. And one of the main points of this show is that he was jobless in his previous life, or he says that often that he never tried, and so he's like, I swear, I'll try in this world. I'll try this time. If you give me another shot. And so he's reincarnated as boy Rudeus Grey Rat. There are some of the funniest things that I've ever seen happen in a manga happen in this manga. It's based on a light novel, based on I think this is it's probably just directly based on the light novel. Mm-hmm. The anime is, because the manga is fairly far along, but there's some minor changes that may not translate. But yeah, this is I really enjoy reading Mushoku Tensei. It's one of my favorite reads. I think it comes out monthly or bi-weekly. I stay pretty caught up with it. Some of the funniest things I've ever seen. Some really cool action scenes have happened throughout this manga, this series. And I don't know. I like isekais. I'm an isekai weeb. Okay, I like isekais. I'm just a weeb. Okay, and I like isekais, and I really like this one. And the production value on this show is fucking phenomenal. It's so
doesn't like when he's reincarnated and he's like a baby and he looks at his mom, he's like, at least I get to suck on those titties for a few years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And
lucky man.
I think that this.
I guess.
David, check me on this, but I think this animation studio is a brand new animation studio.
Yes. So this is Studio Bind, brand new. This is their first anime.
This is their first anime, and let me tell you right now, Studio Bind, I'm willing to watch anything you guys put out now,
I think it's because go look on the page of Studio Bind, David. I want to say it's
like an offshoot of like two companies.
It's like ex-employees of other animation studios.
An egg firm. They were founded in late 2018, and they've just been, I guess, planning and shit.
Getting ready for this.
Yeah, getting ready for this.
But what were the other two studios that they came from?
This is actually not the first one that they've worked on. They helped a little bit with Karakuri Circus for 2 episodes.
Oh, okay, there you go. So they did some offshoot stuff.
And it's a joint venture by White Fox and Egg Firm.
Okay, yeah, tell me who those.
White Fox did a lot of. They did Goblin Slayer,
right?
I Kill, Devil's a Part-Timer, Steins Gate, ReZero,
right.
Egg Firm did some Sword Arts. The Disastrous Life of Saki K.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so both studios did some pretty good works.
The 2 studios that the employees for this studio are coming from have a good track record, and so it makes sense to see the studio come out the gate swinging is the word I would use. That, I mean, this is a very great. If the quality holds up, I mean, very high quality first episode in production side of things. So.
The spell animation, like the water
looked so
bomb
good.
Very cool.
Looked so good. Yeah.
Okay, boys. So thoughts on it though, Kenny? You kind of gave your thoughts. David, what were you thinking?
Yeah, like I read this. So.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like I was saying, like the animation is very, very crisp. It was almost like watching a movie whenever he would be like preparing his spell. Just like the water was just so detailed and crisp.
Yes.
And it was like that for every single one. It was so consistent. So I thought that was I was surprised when I saw that. And just seeing the characters so far, we've only been introduced to his parents, their maid, and near the end of the show, the second half, he is introduced to his teacher.
Yeah.
To help him train in magic. So
Roxy.
Primarily 5 characters.
Shout out.
All the characters seem so unique and they all stand out. And
Where's Paul's shirt, bro?
Where he doesn't need it. He's fucking.
And they fuck a lot. His parents fuck a lot, dude.
Bro, I love Paul. Paul is one of my favorite characters. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to see. I want to keep watching the show just because the animation is hella crisp, and I want to see more characters because the character designs are really, really cool.
Right. I think my biggest thing is that generally with isekai, I feel like the intention is always, how do I one-up the last isekai? There's always this attempt to like find something gimmicky or something, like the hero's overly cautious, or the hero's overpowered, or my mom is in the world with me, or I'm a spider, whatever it might be, right? So I went into this one, I read the subtitle of like Jobless Reincarnation, and I was like, okay, like that's lame, like cool, he was jobless in his original life. But I was taken aback that it was actually much more like the first episode made me realize that it's a little more thoughtful than that. It was more careful with its execution of that. It was not gimmicky. And the one thing that really surprised me is that it generally, when these shows start, they're reincarnated into this new world, either fully grown. It's not an actual reincarnation. It's just like I am now a character in another world. This one was not the case. He died and came back to life as a baby. And the only thing that had stayed with him was his memories for some reason. And it almost like makes you think like, oh damn, is this like, there's like almost some philosophy behind that.
Right. Like almost religious.
Yeah. I was like, wow. Like, and then I was like, oh shit, it's not going to time skip. He's just going to be a kid. And I was like, so I was taken aback again. I was like, they're plotting this a little differently than I was. And I was like, how long is he going to be a kid? I was like, oh, the whole episode? Damn. So there was a lot going on there. And I was like, wow, there's just a little bit more thought that went into this one that just made it feel very vivid. And yeah, I mean, big shout out to the company that put the production together, because the pacing and animation and artwork of this first episode was very spot on. You really felt engaged as it was going along, and yeah, shout out to the original author as well, because the story was genuinely pretty cool. It's not very often that I want to watch a show about this, but it seems more cohesive than most isekai in that it is doing something. It's not doing something particularly original. Obviously, there's a bajillion of these things. But it's certainly taking it from a different direction and approaching it a little bit from a different perspective. And then, again, it's not original. There's tons of, and I don't know why, but while I was watching this, I wasn't like with Boonies, and with Spider and Log, all these other No Game No Life, these other quality isekais, I'm generally kind of pulled out of it when like there are ecchi moments, when there are like booby touches or like big booby girl, all this stuff. But I actually was not. I kind of was okay with the harem-esque parts to this show, because yeah, there's the cute maid who takes care of their house, and his mom has sex with his dad all the time, and he clearly thinks that the girl, that his trainer is cute, like, all this stuff. Like, there's clearly like some, boop, 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 kind of that stuff, but it didn't really bother me. That fan service didn't bother me in this episode, and I don't know if it'll bother me moving forward or not. I'm curious if it's going to get too hokey or not. But if it continues to pace itself like this might end up being my favorite isekai ever. And the first one that I finished the first episode and I said, damn, I actually want to watch more of this. I'm generally compelled to learn, how is this man, grown-ass man, going to navigate a fantasy world from the ground up? Like, that was interesting to me because they built an interesting fantasy world. He lives on the outskirts in this small town where his dad is the sole protector. Like they had to hire a magician from far away to help him learn from these text manuscripts because his mother has magic powers. Like there was some genuine world building that shows like Sword Art and Log Horizon just skip. They just don't care about that stuff. It's all about action and fighting and getting to the big boss and leveling up as fast as possible. This show said, no, we're going to take it slow. We're going to pace ourselves, and we're going to do something a little different. Which I guess it's not... Kenny?
There's no game system, right? It's not...
This is a fantasy world. He woke up
in a fantasy world.
Yeah, he woke up in Lord of the Rings, essentially. You know?
And this was made in 2012.
Yeah, so that really puts it in perspective.
This ran from 2012 to 2015. Like, this is an older isekai in isekai standards. I mean... Of the new style of isekai.
Right, because in reality, I mean, there are isekais. I think isekai dates back to the 80s and 90s. Inuyasha. I mean, there's so much isekai out there, but...
This style of isekai, sort of power fantasy in another world, are, this was one of the earlier versions, I guess. So...
So I don't know. I liked it. I liked it.
I'm in for the ride.
Mark this on the calendars, boys. I just said on the podcast, I liked an isekai. I liked the first episode.
Like an isekai.
This is the first time I've ever sat there and said I want to see the next episode of an isekai, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So
shout out Roxy. Okay. We know Roxy fan club.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. A triple thumb,
up, baby.
A triple thumb,
a triple thumb,
triple thumb.
Incredible, incredible.
That show deserves it. I'm really excited for that show.
What the hell?
And it looks great.
I'm excited for that show. I didn't want to.
Let me tell you, some of the fights are very cool. Some of the way they sort of do the fighting, and Rudy is not. He's not power. He's not Kirito. He's not just gonna like whack things and they die. Like they actually have to sort of think about how to fight. And that's some really strategy to me. Yeah.
Okay, boys. Last show. Let's do it.
Last show. I'm definitely a little beaten down, but
yeah, and we know from our first time doing this, we know that this is always it's a slog getting here, but we're at 2.5 hours. We'll wrap this up. We did it. The last one was about this long too, so I knew it was going to happen, and it's just going to be a staple here on the podcast. Long ass podcast where we do this because talking about 13 shows is just fun. I mean, it's a blast talking. I mean, if we could just talk about X-Arm for 2 hours, I would have. No, I'm just... okay. Last show of the night. So bad. Last show of the night, also Funimation exclusive simulcast, is a show titled Wonder Egg Priority. Kenny, what is Wonder Egg Priority about?
So Wonder Egg Priority is supernatural. It's interesting. So we get introduced to this girl, who is walking around outside in the middle of the night, but then she goes into an escalator in a tree and gets sucked into this school building, and you're confused. And then she wakes up and you're like, oh, it was a dream. And so then she finds this egg, or she got this egg for free. And she has another dream the next night where she's in a school with this other girl. And this girl is being hunted by these see-no evils. And I herself had a friend who was being bullied at school. It was her first friend, her best friend. And throughout the episode, you sort of see the beginning of their friendship. And then it turns out that her friend committed suicide because of the bullying that was going on. And so then I stands up for this other girl that's being hunted by these see-no evils. And the fact is that she is somebody who also was seeing no evil and would just look the other way whenever her friend was being bullied. So she stands up to these sort of supernatural creatures in this dream world, and she makes it to this bell and saves this girl and then wakes up. But then it turns out her injuries from the night, from the dream, maintained, and she goes into a coma and she's in the hospital. But then she's in this sort of like Alice in Wonderland style garden with this Mad Hatter and this rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
These two characters, and they're like, there's somebody here already, but you can go ahead and go next. And I guess that she believes that the amount of people that she can save in the dream world could hopefully bring her friend back to life. So, and honestly, as weird as that sounds, it was conveyed very well.
Yeah.
The conveyance in Wonder Egg Priority. Okay, there's back arrow where you don't fucking know anything. The conveyance in Wonder Egg Priority is so perfect because it genuinely almost does no explanation. The same way that back arrow does no explanation, but it explains it through its pictures and
there's a way to create intentional confusion as a storyteller that works. There's a way you can do that where the viewer wants to watch more because they want to learn the answers to questions, or the world itself becomes part of the storytelling element. And Back Arrow fucks it up completely. Wonder Egg Priority knocks it out of the park because it actually creates something that makes you go, what's going on? No, I get it. Or it actually is helping you connect dots as you watch. And those dots being connected is fun for the viewer. As a viewer, you want to be fed some of that information, and you want to be able to figure out some of that information on your own. And the show does a good job of letting you figure it out on your own, but giving you enough hints to figure out what's happening. And that's how you do it.
Yeah, and when it clicks, it feels so good because they didn't just sit you down. You didn't sit down. Or in Fate Zero, there's just a scene where they walk around each other in this circle and explain the whole show, and that doesn't feel good. You're like, okay, it's just an exposition dump. In this show, it just all clicks, right? You're like, oh, I understand.
Yeah,
this girl is here. She's being bullied at school and committed suicide. Our character now is there to sort of rescue this girl. And like everything just sort of clicks, and you're like, I get it. There, like in Mega Man X, okay. In Mega Man X, there's this thing called conveyance, okay.
Oh no, wait, okay, back it up. No, but I get it.
Wonder Egg Priority does a phenomenal job of conveying the story and what's going on without having to explicitly tell you.
Yeah,
right.
You know?
I kind of got feelings of like Inception almost, kind of how like the back and forth between
good call, David.
Like between the back and forth between like reality and the different dreams. They don't go to like levels within the dream, but it like the things that happen within the dream have some kind of impact on I and on the world. And this of the 13, this is my favorite show. This is number 1 for me because so to give some kind of some background. So this is an original anime
give us
adaptation.
some info. Yeah.
This is original. This is by Cloverworks.
Oh yeah.
And
Cloverworks.
Cloverworks had 2 good animes.
Yes, and that's really it.
Did they do another show this season? Wait,
yeah, they did
243 Seiin.
No.
That's David Productions.
Yeah.
Well, what was the show that you liked, Jerry? Because it was one of those shows.
Shit.
SK8 the Infinity?
No, Skate's Bones.
I'm bringing back the tabs.
It might have been Horimiya.
Horimiya. Was
it Horimiya?
Yes, Horimiya.
Okay. So we're doing Horimiya and Wonder Egg.
I guess I could just click on Cloverworks and then go to Horimiya.
So Horimiya and Wonder Egg Priority are the same company. That's interesting.
Yeah. And when I first started the episode for Wonder Egg Priority, it was like I was legit watching a movie. Like other animes that were animated well this season, so far at least, like the first episodes, I was like, okay, this is I'm kind of getting movie vibes. This was like legit, like as if I started an anime movie.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's the artwork, the animation, just the whole vibe of the show is there's like a lot of mystery. There's things aren't obvious, like Kenny was explaining. Like you're kind of discovering things as you're watching more of the show. So I'm hella excited to watch more of the show. and it's funny because this was the very last show that I watched of the 13.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this one just came out 2 days ago. We just like, this is 2 days before we recorded. So, yeah, crazy. Cause like, yeah, it is the last one that's come out this season. And that's kind of what delayed us recording this a little bit so that we could watch this show. And I'm happy we did. Honestly, I'm really happy we did. Yeah, I think you guys have pretty much covered it. The show was just really a dream state. It was just a very cool little insight. And I think the one thing I have to touch on is that you don't really see anime manage the idea of like mental health often. I'd say it's a little bit of a taboo topic in a lot of cultures. Even in America, it's kind of taboo. And because of that, you don't get a lot of content that has like heavy mental health theming. This is clearly a show about a very fucked up young high schooler who is still managing like the suicide of her best friend. And like, this is a mental health. I mean, this is I'm calling it now. I mean, the other world, the dream world it's an extended metaphor for her managing her mental health.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm up in the air. I think it's really got the strongest theming of any show this season. You've got a very strong thematic presence. The dialogue was very good, and the art and animation. I do think that this is potentially the best designed show of the season. I don't know,
hands down.
And I think that original animes tend to have that they have that cool leg up.
Yeah.
Because in an adaptation, like, you do have to go off the source material.
Right.
But original anime, I think that, and that's like, if either you watch Kisniver or Gurren Lagann, which is an original anime, like, the way that they can design their characters and their world is just really interesting and really cool. Like, you can really make cool characters. And I think that that's something that I really like about this show.
Me too. All right.
What was the Netflix anime show that we watched with that was original as well that we just talked about? Great Pretender.
Great Pretender.
That was
awesome.
Another original.
A lot of original anime recently that have really been knocking it out. It's really interesting to see. Well, boys, let's give it a thumb on Wonder Egg Priority. I think I have an idea where we're going here, but 3, 2, 1. Yeah, big thumbs up from all of us. This is a show to stick with.
Think, here's the thing, I may not watch it and then binge it all at once.
I was just thinking that, Kenny.
Yeah. Because I think that it might be the better way to watch it, because this felt like a movie for real. And so it feels like maybe a big one sitting sort of experience.
I also wonder if it's going to be super short. It's in the Noitamine A block, which is a pretty notorious block for only having like 6 episode or 8 episode shows instead of 13 episodes. So I'm curious if this is going to be like that. I didn't see an announcement for how many episodes it's going to be, but if it ends up being like only 8 episodes, then that's like easy. I'm sure it's probably actually better watched in one sitting than weekly. So I'm really curious what that's going to end up like. Okay, so we've done it. We've gotten through our new 13 shows, and while this season has had some of the worst anime I've ever watched in my entire life, there's 3 in here that I cannot. They're irredeemable. Levels of bad. I think that this season has a ton of very promising shows. I didn't expect it because this is a season so stacked with returning shows.
Yeah,
I was worried that most of this stuff was going to be throwaway stuff, and I was very pleasantly surprised. And I think there's some real hidden gems in this season that very outclass last season in a lot of ways. And I already saw some stuff, other people online claiming, winter 2021, the most stacked season ever, blah, blah, blah. And it really, it is proving itself. And for those of you not watching, go watch Promised Neverland, go watch Dr. Stone, go watch Slime, go watch Beastars, like those
ReZero,
Attack on Titan, ReZero, go, like, those are all really great shows that are continuing this season too. And it's time, go catch up, because you want to be here for some of that stuff. I mean, David's trying to get through Attack on Titan right now, and he needs to.
I'm so close to catching up.
If you can be there with us when the finale hits later this season, like, it's going to be a monumental moment in anime when that season finale hits. But
bro, wait, David, you're going to be here. We could live stream the finale.
Yeah, we can
live stream it. Have they confirmed how many episodes it's going to be in the last season?
16.
16?
16.
Really
So it's still a
weird
few
number.
weeks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is the manga over
10
yet,
weeks.
or is
The
there one more
manga
chapter?
and the anime are ending the same week, so that's really
Okay.
interesting. I think that most likely that means the anime studio has got the manga scripts way ahead of time.
Like they know how it's going to end.
Most likely they already
Well,
have
because it's
it in
Titan's a
hand.
monthly, so
Yeah, they probably have the whole thing in hand through to the end. But very interesting. Okay, based off of our thumbs, I am gathering that I think the top 3 shows that we're suggesting this season to everyone at home is going to be Skate, Mushoku Tensei, and Wonder Egg Priority. What do you guys think? That sounds about right.
Yep.
I agree with that.
I think we pretty much.
I would say,
Huh?
I would say my what's the word for didn't make the list. My notable mention.
Honorable mentions.
Oh, honorable mention.
My honorable mention would be Horimiya because I really love Horimiya.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite romance shows.
Yep.
And
And
that would
do
be
know,
my honorable
the
mention.
3 of us are all probably still going to stick with Horimiya too, so it's definitely a group honorable mention for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing with.
I agree with that. I think my honorable mention would be bottom tier. Bottom tier one.
And I think for me,
Tomozaki-chan.
Kemono
Yeah.
Jihen. Like I'm gonna stick with Kemono
Yeah.
Jihen for sure. Like I love a good I love a fun crappy shonen. So I'm totally in. Standard shonen. It's probably not crappy, but just
Standard
regular
shonen, yeah.
standard shonen.
Yeah.
So
Textbook.
But for real, Skate, Mushoku Tensei, and Wonder Egg Priority seem to be the ones to watch this season. I think that all 3 of those, as long as they don't fuck up in the middle, could really be some strong contenders for good anime this year. And just very much stronger than some of the shows we've watched in the past. I'm really excited about these 3 shows. So there you go. That is the Uncensored Anime Podcast. 13
Don't
new.
watch X-Arm.
Please
delete
don't watch
X-Arm.
Don't watch
And
it, man.
guys, don't watch Back Arrow. Don't even try.
I don't know. I'm gonna keep watching it just because I don't know what
You
is
have
going
to. Okay, but yes, great job. Those of you at home listening, make sure you follow us on all of our socials. We do have Instagram. We have Twitter. You can follow us on Spotify. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts. You can follow us on legitimately everything. You can follow us on it. And you can like us, and you can go rate us and review us. Please, that helps a lot. Give us thumbs up, all that good stuff. If you've enjoyed this type of content, you know, any sort of thing that you can do to thumbs up, comment, all that stuff. We love the engagement. We love doing this show. We love the amount of people that we've already, we've already got some people who are watching and sticking with us, and I'm loving that. If this is your first time listening and you enjoyed this sort of thing, we're going to do this every season, but in between that, we bring on guests and review a full anime series. We review anime just about every week. We'll talk about entire shows and give it the full 2 hours it deserves to really deep dive and talk about what makes these shows great or terrible. We've reviewed some very terrible anime on this podcast. And, sometimes we just have to do that. So you all know that, and yeah, we would love your support. It means the world to us. We really enjoyed making this podcast for everyone. So other than that, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week with some more fun stuff, most likely a review next week of a full series. So buckle up for that, and we might announce it on our Instagram ahead of time. But so follow us on Instagram. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for listening. This is the Uncensored Anime Podcast, and we're saying peace.